Let's get peppy. Welcome to Pep 267. That's Planet Extra Podcast. I am Chaz Lichadello, a host of Planet America on ABC Australia, and this is an official podcast of the ABC. So say hi to the ombudsman for me. On Pep, we cover all the stuff that's too nerdy for TV. If you're listening, you can find us on YouTube and Facebook at Planet Pep, and you can find highlights there as well. You also find timestamps and show notes in our blurbs. If you leave a comment under our current episode video, we're likely to see it. Do not forget to subscribe for that peppy goodness. It all helps. You can also tweet us or Blue Sky us at PEPCHASDRDAVE. That's at PepChazDrDave. If you want to chat to some fellow peppers, you can join our Discord server. It's on the screen right now or in the blurb of the podcast. But if you want to contact me or Lockie the Lackey privately, why not email us? The address is producer at pepthepodcast.com. That address again is producer at pepthepodcast.com. And can you taste it? That is the taste of my holidays being a week away, which means I'm going to respond to a very large number of emails. That's what that taste is. And we're recording this at 2:48 p.m. on the Friday, directly after Lockie watched the Paraguay-Australia game. And if we cut to the Lockie cam, the lockbox...
I have no idea why you think I went to the match. I'm not really into it.
Some classic...
It's more Chaz's thing than mine.
Some classic costume comedy there for those who are listening. You've really missed out. And we're also, Ryan Shotgun, we've got Lucas behind us at Work Experience. There we are. Say hi. There we are. I'm not sure you can see him behind that wall, but he's there. Oh, I didn't say the time. 2:49, Friday, 26th of June. There we go. Or 12:49 a.m. in America, where you would have just watched the Turkey game, maybe, if you care. But for now, let's turn to the man who simply will not raise the stakes on inconsequential views. I say it slowly because a lot of people are asking, what the hell is he mumbling about when he says that? It's Dr. Pepper himself, Dr. Dave Smith.
Hello, everyone. I am David Smith. I'm an associate professor at the US Studies Centre at the University of Sydney. Now, I do not speak for either of those institutions. You know, I've just noticed I've got a bit of blood on my shirt.
Really?
I bleed for the US Studies Centre. I bleed for the University of Sydney, but I do not speak for them. Also, it's because I gave myself a minor shaving cut this morning.
Wow, it can't be that minor if it ended up on your shirt.
Because I was putting my shirt on after I shaved. Look, for people who might be wondering, where does this raising the stakes on inconsequential views
wondering about that.
Come from? Well, it actually comes from something which I regarded as one of the most profound things that Chaz said. I think it was probably 1.5 to 2 years ago. Yep. It was during the encampment protests at Columbia when there were a lot of people trying to get Columbia students fired because of things that they'd said or their participation in the protests. And Chaz was looking through these ridiculous countermeasures being taken against, as he pointed out, some fairly inconsequential views and asked in exasperation, must we always raise the stakes of inconsequential views? And I loved that so much. I suggested it should become a sort of slogan for PEP, but instead somehow it became my introduction slogan.
Well, you wanted it.
Yeah, I did. I did.
It's now become something I mumble.
But I've got to say, I can't actually take credit for it.
Well, it's true. You don't raise those stakes.
I do not raise those stakes.
Yeah. It's actually now become something that no one understands. So it's really, really evolved. But I'm glad you brought it up because I actually forgot how it started. Yeah. And it's newly relevant today.
It is.
Yes, for a topic we're going to be getting to
Absolutely,
soon.
yes.
So, there are indeed some inconsequential views being regurgitated, even as we speak, from Columbia, which we'll get to. What are you grateful for, Dave?
I am grateful for my PhD student, Anastasiya, who is actually no longer my PhD student because she was officially conferred her PhD on Monday.
Dr. Anastasiya.
Dr. Anastasiya, welcome to the club. Now, getting a PhD under any circumstances is a very difficult thing to do, but let me tell you about hers. Anastasiya is originally from Ukraine. She originally moved to Australia with her family at the age of 7, but she has periodically gone back to Ukraine throughout her life. I first met her when she was an honours student at the University of Sydney about 10 years ago. And she began a PhD at the University of Sydney looking at the development of Ukrainian identity through the two big revolutions that happened in the 2000s, the Orange Revolution in the early 2000s and what has become known as the Revolution of Dignity in 2014. Now, she started this before the Ukraine war began. When the Ukraine war began, she almost immediately went back to Ukraine to be there for her family and for her country. And she has been there ever since, apart from one brief stretch back in Sydney last year. She has done almost this whole PhD under wartime conditions in Kiev. And it has been incredibly difficult. Yeah. She has often been without electricity. She's been without a stable source of internet access. The apartment complex that she lives in has been bombed. She frequently has to go to areas to keep herself safe from air raids and to keep her family safe from air raids. She has to look after her family. Her neighbourhood has had a very difficult time for a lot of reasons. Just a lot of basic resources don't get there. They're often without water. Over the last winter, which was a particularly cold and bitter one, they were without heat and without hot water for about a month. The night that she defended her dissertation, right, so she had to do a formal dissertation defense in front of two markers, both of whom were in North America, so this was all online. She had to go to a hotel that night because the worst drone attack of this year was happening at 11:30 that night. She had to go to a hotel in order to have a stable source of electricity and internet access. And she has written a fantastic thesis, which, it wasn't intended that way when she began it, but what it basically is like a political prehistory of the Ukraine war. It is about the struggle between pro-Ukrainian and pro-Russian forces within Ukrainian politics, and it's especially about the struggle over symbolism. She is particularly good on religion in Ukraine, which is an incredibly complicated subject. It's so complicated that usually whenever you read anything about it, whoever writes it says, look, this is too complicated to discuss. She actually did it. Completing a PhD under those circumstances is an incredible achievement. She actually did an interview with David Crowe in the Sydney Morning Herald just a few days ago because there was a Russian attack that set the Pechersk Lavra, which is a church and monastery that goes back to the 10th century and until recently was a Russian Orthodox church that was set on fire. So she did an interview about that. I've put a link to that. I've also put a link to her page on The Conversation. She's written 3 or 4 articles in The Conversation. If you kind of want a flavour of what she writes about, you can find that there. But yeah, just an extraordinary achievement, certainly much more extraordinary than my PhD, to complete a PhD under those circumstances. So congratulations, Anastasiya, and I am very grateful for her.
So were you her supervisor?
I was her supervisor. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I was her primary supervisor. Her original primary supervisor was Goran Ogurigic, who some peppers will know, who used to be at the US Studies Centre when she left to go to Zurich to become a full-time NATO expert. I took over.
We're not going to talk about it as a topic today, at least. I don't know if Melina wants to in the peps. Oh, we should give you a running order of what's coming. This is Dave's last pep before the break.
Yep.
Then next week, I think, fingers crossed, we do have woofers for an hour. So there's going to be a woofers interview. Big Michigan corner there.
Yeah.
And I will fill up the rest of that time with whatever's left over on immigration and maybe some climate change as well. Mm-hmm. And Melina will have a pep as well. What time, what days those are, we're not sure. It really depends when I can get the woofers. It's going to be, and Melina.
Does he like that you call him woofers?
I don't know. I've never.
Is that what he
asked
calls
him.
himself?
I don't think he does. But if you're going to walk around with a name like Woofers, people are going to call you Woofers. Melina's will be the last one, but I don't know what day exactly it will be. But that's what's coming up. So we may or may not talk about Ukraine, but just in case we don't, it would be remiss, especially given with your
yes.
grateful, to not mention that Ukraine are really turning around the war at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, one of the points that Anastasiya made was that attacking the Pechers Lavra is a sign of desperation. And in fact, all of the recent drone and cruise missile and ballistic missile attacks on Kyiv, these are signs of desperation.
Yeah.
This is Russia engaging in a level of attacks on civilians that it hasn't done before in Kiev in a really desperate attempt to try to change the rapidly developing narrative of the war, which is that Russia is clearly losing.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying is definitely correct, but you don't even need that to know that they're in trouble. I mean, there's literally a 200 drone attack on Moscow the other day. Like, that was not happening before.
Yes. When you have the Ukrainian government trolling the Russian government saying, yes, we will grant you permission for your May Day parade to take place in Moscow without us attacking it, you know something's changed.
Absolutely. I mean, like, and Zelensky's sending out Liam Neeson-like messages to the media saying things like, we do not want this war and never did, but if Ukraine is going to burn, your Moscow will burn first. Like, it's like that is very sort of taken.
Yeah.
There's a real vibe, and there's always footage of like spectacular footage of stuff being blown up. I sent Lockie one. You can show us of just like an oil storage facility near Moscow.
Yeah.
Like, this lid just blew off, and it's just all kinds of shit's happening. Putin went for a walk through the street the other day. And that literally on the video, you could hear his security saying, send in more extras for the people around Putin.
Send in more extras.
It's not going well.
Let's be clear. We're not saying Ukraine is going to win tomorrow.
No, definitely not.
We're not saying that, there's necessarily ever going to be a decisive victory all the way back to the 1992 borders. But Russia is looking weaker than it has looked for a very long time.
Yeah, like it's just going backwards at this point in time, which doesn't mean it's going to stay that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, for instance, I remember a year or two ago when we were talking about this, we were saying, okay, well, they're going to have some kind of negotiation at some point in time, but something like, say, Crimea is gone. That's not coming back.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't say that now.
No.
Because they've cut Crimea off entirely now to the point where in Crimea they're not even selling petrol to civilians anymore because it's been completely cut off.
Yes.
Like it just go, well, maybe Crimea is potentially on the map again.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to know.
One thing I always teach my students is the historical sociologist Charles Tilley had this catchphrase, war makes states. And I would say that for both Russia and Ukraine, war has been a kind of state-building exercise to some extent. If you look at the kinds of capacities that they've developed as a result of this war, which was something that was very well publicized for Russia over the last few years. But I think there's now this increasing consciousness that Ukraine has developed the most powerful military in Europe apart from Russia itself. This is a point that Zelensky keeps emphasizing. And it's developed very impressive war industries, to the point that it's now offering assistance to other countries. Yeah. So, under very adverse circumstances, this is a classic example of where war creates these circumstances under which this state develops these new capacities, which it is now really flexing.
Yeah. The issue is going to be, I think, that who knows how long this continues. So this could turn around at any moment.
Yeah.
But if this continues on for a while and Ukraine actually gets some ground back, whatever that is, Russia has pretty consistently for the last few months been saying, okay, let's just freeze the lines right here.
Yeah.
And then let's have our deal with the lines frozen right there.
Yeah.
There's going to be a point where Ukraine's going to have to make a choice where if we say, let's freeze the lines right here where we are now in 6 months' time or whatever, Russia's going to say yes.
Yeah.
But we won't have won back everything we lost.
That's right, yeah.
At what point can we cut our losses without looking like we're selling out the bits we haven't got to yet?
Yes.
Like, out of concern that it might turn around at any moment. And it's just wise to stop a war when you can stop a war.
Yeah.
That's going to be the decision at some point in time.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Although, remember, Zelensky is constitutionally prohibited from negotiating away Ukrainian land.
Yeah, but I mean, that may be the case, but I think until recently he was certainly talking like he was assuming that land was going to go.
Yeah. It wasn't going to be formally ceded, but it was,
Yeah. Anyway, that's not a topic that I'm prepared for, but I just thought we should mention it.
Yes.
You're grateful. My grateful is part of the reason why, look, I'll be frank. If we weren't taking a holiday in a week, I would have taken a holiday sometime in the last week or two for a few reasons. Number one, I've been battling flus for a while. And I'm getting quite tired. Number two, I just need a break. But number three, I've got to admit, there's something else on my mind.
What is that?
And it's not American politics. It's certainly not that bloody reflection pool. What's on my mind at the moment is quizzing. And this is my grateful. I have discovered, I'm not suggesting it was hidden. Many of the peppers probably know about this already. I didn't. I have just recently stumbled upon jetpunk.com, which is free, so I can promote it. So, jetpunk.com is a quiz site. It's got thousands of quizzes. Thousands of quizzes. And oh my God, I love being quizzed. And some of them are just geography quizzes. Some of them are speed quizzes, like like multiplication, doing quick multiplications. I don't mean 5 times 5. I mean like 17 times 21 type multiplications. Some of them are history, like whatever you can think of, there's quizzes. And oh man, oh God, I love quizzes. I mean like stuff like, if you like trivia, there's nothing more fun, especially geography trivia. There's nothing more fun than being given a pin and a map of Europe without borders, and you got to try and pinpoint where Liechtenstein is. That's my bag. Yes.
So assume that you've been addicted to Sporkle for years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But honestly, this is great.
Okay.
This is a new world. And this is what my holidays are going to be.
As you were talking before we began about you're getting faster and faster.
Yeah, I like that because things like the multiplication and recognizing 4, 5, 8, 9 in terms of like objects.
Yes,
8 objects, 6 objects, 2 objects. You just try and do as fast as you can. It does rewire your brain. If you do it every day, you do get faster.
Can it make you talk faster?
I'm not sure.
Would we want it to make you talk faster?
I'm not sure it's possible for me to talk faster than I do at the top of this show. I'm really grateful for Jetpunk and for people who make they're all normies who make the quizzes, and I thank you very much, all the normies who make the quizzes. They're awesome stuff. I'm not going to waste time on that, but I will off air. I've got a couple of quick updates. It's correspondence as much as anything. All right. Now I'm going to have a few correspondences, I think, at the end, depending on how we go. But I want to put a couple at the top here. Just the vibe of it. Frame 250. We talked a bit about that.
Yep.
Egotastical says, you missed a crazy example of shilling. This is fun.
Okay.
Mark Zuckerberg is also a big UFC fan and regularly attends. Mid-event, the announcer took time to let everyone know that Zuckerberg will be donating a free pair of Meta glasses to all blind veterans. And they thank Zuckerberg for being an amazing human who does so much for all Americans. Wow, what a great guy. They said, if you know any blind veterans, get in touch. That's great stuff. And Mary Creek also mentions, we really should have mentioned, this is why it's up here, it's a correction as much as anything, you should have mentioned the massive financial payoffs to the Trump family incorporated, as they have financial interests in the UFC that goes way back when the UFC was struggling for venues.
Yes.
Matt Bevan, Mary Creek Notes, had a whole video on this.
Okay.
If you're listening. So if you're interested in that, you can look up, we should put in the homework, Lockie. Yep. The Matt Bevan UFC video. And also Daniel Korma, the guy who said he was hacked when he tweeted out the tweets from Eric Trump trying to score some inside information to fix a fight. Well, not to fix, to bet on a fight, which is fixed. Ryan says, I believed the Eric Trump Daniel Korma thing was real at first too, because it did look very believable. But Daniel Cormier's account also started posting other weird stuff, like crypto scam posts, which he's never done before. So I'm inclined to believe him now. However, the funnier bit is the video circulating of Don Jr. sitting behind Trump during a UFC event looking like he's doing sleight of hand with a tiny baggie he pulls out of his suit pocket. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. But
Look, I'm glad you clarified that Daniel Cormier doesn't normally post crypto scams. Because ex-UFC fighter, now commentator, I would just assume that posting crypto scams is part of the job.
Well, look, I get where you're coming from, Ryan, and I agree with Dave. It's good that you clarified, but I'm not convinced. I do have a screen cap of it here, which Lockie can show you over the top. But the thing is, he posted someone posted the Eric Trump screen caps. Then they deleted them almost immediately. And then that person posted the crypto scam and then deleted that as well. So unless the argument is that the scammer deleted the Eric Trump stuff for some reason after posting it and then posted the crypto scam and then they regained control of the account and deleted that, or alternatively, are you saying that he got hacked? The hacker posted the Eric Trump stuff, then he got control of the account and deleted it. And then the hacker got control again and posted the crypto thing. And then he got control again and deleted it. That doesn't make much sense to me.
That would be weird. I mean, scammers, they're not fly fishermen, right? Okay, so some people who do fly fishing, for them, the whole art is just deceiving the fish.
Yeah.
They don't actually want the fish, right? So not only do they throw the fish back, some don't even bother to catch the fish in the first place, right? If they can see they've deceived the fish, then they're like, great, it's just the love of the sport. That's not how scammers work.
It's not.
It's not like, yes, I got through this account, got through its defenses, I'm immediately going to delete the scam post that I posted now because actually scamming people is not the point.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's not how it works.
I don't know. In the whole world of scammers, there probably are a couple out there like that, but I don't think so.
Look, I put your case forward, Ryan. I'm not convinced by it. Other people might be. But it's good that you're being fair. We like people being fair.
Yes, we do.
That's another little slogan.
Yep.
And I continue to believe that Eric Trump tried to underhandedly get information from bets.
In the clumsiest way possible. Yes.
And one more very quick update. Not correspondence. Ebola update. The confirmed cases in the current outbreak has passed 1,000 now. 1,003, including 254 deaths. So I'll just keep you posted on that.
Yep.
And Screwworm, when I get more numbers, I'll tell you about that as well.
Okay.
I do have an update on Screwworm. We've got some vets corresponding.
Right.
Thank you, vets. But I'll save that for the end of the pod.
We do have some veterinary peppers.
We do.
I know a couple of them. Shout out, you know who you are. I can't advertise you, unfortunately, because it's the ABC, but we're very grateful for the job that you do with our animals. Also, I mean, there's another pepper, not exactly a vet himself, but I met him at the vet. Was it an animal?
Well, is there a dog?
There was a dog, yes. Yes, there is a dog. The dog is a delightful corgi called Chomsky. So
hello,
shout
Chomsky.
out to Chomsky's parents. And I saw
Chomsky,
and Chomsky seems to have a new little brother I saw in the street the other day. Chomsky, like a lot of older dogs, didn't seem that impressed by the little brother's attempts to, play and roughhouse. But everyone looked like they were having a great time. So shout out to Chomsky.
We have a lot of medical and vet peppers, and I think it might be because they're used to staying up all night doing something that's very arduous. And like when they intern and stuff, they do 24-hour shifts.
Yeah.
And peps are kind of like a 24-hour shift when you listen to it.
Yes.
I think they like that vibe. Anyway, look, I'll do more of this later on. But for now, Dave, why don't we get into the main content? Why don't we start with, like we do every single week, it seems,
with Iran.
Yes.
Now, before I launch into how the negotiations are going, I actually want to do a small correspondence.
Sure.
Because I looked at last week's YouTube video because I wanted to see what you had said about the reflecting pool.
Yep.
And so I had a quick look at the comments and I want to...
You watched some of the YouTube video?
Yes.
Is that the first time?
It's not exactly the first time, but
I'm honoured, man.
It's like it's in the first 5 times.
Okay, anyway, so you looked.
So I want to acknowledge a comment by Aussie Uncle Phil in response to something that I said, which was that Iran's leverage had increased, and I said because they were able to withstand the whole might of the US and Israeli military. Now, he pointed out quite correctly that part of the whole problem with this enterprise was that the US military had not thrown anything like its full might at Iran. He pointed out they threw a lot more at Iraq 20 years ago, and even that was kind of a half-assed job. Because Donald Rumsfeld had promised that it could actually be done without that many troops.
We'll have to save some for Greenland, though.
Well, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Aussie Uncle Phil, you are absolutely right that they did not throw everything that they could have at Iran. And I'm going to use this comment to rephrase what I was saying into something that's hopefully more accurate and helpful. And that is that the US in this war really revealed politically exactly how far it's prepared to go with its military.
Yeah.
So, yes, that wasn't a military limit. That was a political limit. But what Iran found was it could definitely withstand what the US was politically prepared to throw at it.
Yep.
Now, it is possible that had this been done by another president, say a President John McCain or Hillary Clinton, that there would have been a far more kind of full force effort. But I would suggest that actually in the 2020s, I mean, Trump might be particularly kind of reluctant to use US ground troops. But I'd actually say just about any president who gets elected in the 2020s is not going to want to commit huge amounts of ground troops or possibly any ground troops to a conflict in the Middle East. Like, it's not just Trump. I think that is due to deep political factors in the US. So one of the reasons, I'll rephrase this, one of the reasons why Iran gained a lot of leverage was because they and the whole world got to see exactly where the political limits were when it came to wars that the United States will fight, at least in that part of the world. Okay? Yeah. So thank you for that comment. That helps to clarify what I was saying. Okay. So this is the first week of the Memorandum of Understanding piece and the first attempts at the negotiations, which are supposed to only last 60 days. Now, I want to start with the one thing that has actually happened as a result of the Memorandum of Understanding that everyone seems to agree on, because as we're going to see, there's a lot of disagreement on most of the points of the Memorandum of Understanding. But the one thing that they seem to agree on is that the US has waived the sanctions on oil.
Yes.
And all of the banking and financial infrastructure around oil as well. So they've given the 60-day waiver on that. Scott Bessent has given that. So that has definitely happened. That brings immediate benefits to the Iranian economy because now they can sell oil to anyone. The world is hungry for it. They can even sell oil to the United States.
They can.
If they want to.
Can I say something about that wavering?
Yes.
Maybe this. You're about to say this. I want to say something about the legality.
Yes.
Is that something you're going to? Or not?
I was not going to.
Okay.
You feel free to.
So I will jump in there with that, which is that there is. Well, it's not. I was about to say it's questionable, the legality of those waivers. I don't think it's questionable. I think they're clearly illegal, but no one cares. Let me just talk it through because there's just a. This is just my raging at the dying of the light. I just can't help myself. Whenever someone just blatantly breaks the law, I feel the need to tell you why they are. And then we can just all ignore it together.
Yep. Okay,
so back in 2015, Congress tried to squeeze Obama with what's called the Iran Nuclear Agreement Review Act.
Yep.
INARA is the acronym.
Yep.
Somewhat unusually, it isn't a dicky word, like spelling out nuclear or something.
Yes,
it's just Inara. And it was basically designed to stop Obama getting too peace-loving with Iran. They didn't like that. And it requires the president to, within 5 days of reaching an agreement with Iran, only Iran, relating to the nuclear program of Iran to submit to Congress the agreement, other documents, a certification concerning the agreement's consistency with US non-proliferation objectives and related matters. During the period for transmitting that agreement and a 30-day congressional review period, the president, quote, may not waive, suspend, reduce, provide relief from, or otherwise limit the application of statutory sanctions with respect to Iran under any provision of law, or refrain from applying any such sanctions pursuant to an agreement relating to Iran's nuclear program. Okay, so there's a few questions here. Number one, is this a nuclear agreement, the MOU, for the purposes of Inara?
Well, as was widely pointed out, there wasn't a lot of stuff about the nuclear program in there, but...
No, but there's one paragraph.
Paragraph 8.
Let's read it out again.
Have references.
Paragraph 8.
Yeah.
The Islamic Republic of Iran reaffirms that it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. That's the whole ball game. But
Yes.
I'll read on.
In other words, yes, it is still a signatory to the Non-Proliferation Treaty.
Yep, but there's obviously about nuclear arms. The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iraq have agreed to resolve the disposition of stockpiled enriched material pursuant to a mechanism that will be mutually agreed upon in accordance with the schedule mentioned in paragraph 7, with the minimum methodology to be down blending on site under the supervision of the IAEA. Keeps on going, but that is more than enough to show the agreement is at least partly about nuclear matters. Number 2, is it actually an agreement, or is it a framework through which they may one day have an agreement? Those are different things. Now, Inara's definition of agreement is the following. An agreement related to the nuclear program of Iran, regardless of the form it takes, whether a political commitment or otherwise, and regardless of whether it is legally binding or not, including any joint comprehension plan of action entered into or made between Iran and any other parties, and any additional materials related thereto, including annexes, appendices, codicils, side agreements, implementing materials, documents, and guidance, technical or other understandings, and any related agreements, whether entered into or implemented prior to the agreement, or to be entered into or implemented in the future.
Okay, until you got to that last bit, I was thinking, well, this engaged to be engaged thing that the US and Iran are doing maybe doesn't count. But yeah, no, that last bit.
Implemented in the future.
Suggests that it does.
It's covered. And by the way, the administration did transmit the MOU to Congress within 5 days, like the Act requires. So they're following the Act. So theoretically, what this means is, if there's just a blizzard of words that lost you, what this means is that for at least 30 days, they shouldn't be waiving any sanctions that have been legislated. For at least 30 days.
Yep.
And yet Scott Bessent has waived statutory sanctions. We're talking the selling oil.
Yeah.
That's been on the statutes since 1987. They haven't been able to, they're not allowed to sell, Iran's not allowed to sell oil to America, either directly or indirectly.
Yep.
So this clearly is breaking that law, which of course no one is going to enforce. Congress aren't going to do anything about it. I don't even know who would have standing. Who is being financially directly damaged by Iran selling oil? Yeah. That's right.
Well, maybe some American oil producer could claim that now they've got to compete with all of this Iranian oil.
But they're still being able to sell it.
Yeah.
Lucas is giving us a thumbs down. I'm not sure if that means he's not enjoying the podcast, or if he's saying there's no one's got standing.
No, he's coming to make a comment.
He's coming to clarify. Okay. Well, we'll just keep on talking. He can come in and clarify.
We are going to get a Lucas clarification
from work experience. Lucas, come in, Lucas. Talking to the mic.
I don't believe anyone is being harmed by Iran selling oil.
Thank you, Lucas. You can be the ref on this one. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Judge Lucas sits in, presides, and he says, no one's got standing. Sorry, buddy. That's good enough for me, Judge Lucas.
Maybe the Iranian monarchists would, but they're too busy making nuisances of themselves at the World Cup.
Yes, they probably haven't paid attention to this.
Yeah.
Anyway, if someone did take the government to court over this, watch the Supreme Court strike this law down in like 5 seconds as an unconstitutional restriction of the president's power to conduct foreign affairs. So that was a massive diversion, showing you that this is blatantly illegal and nothing is going to happen. So let's move on. Dave.
Yes. Okay, and as I say, that was the one thing that's happened that everybody basically agrees on.
Yes.
After that, it gets a bit tricky.
Okay.
So there are essentially 4 major sticking points so far. Okay. I'd say there are more to come, but there are 4 so far.
Sure.
So the first is Lebanon.
Yep.
The second is nuclear inspections.
Yep.
The third is unfreezing of Iranian funds.
Yes.
And the fourth is the Strait of Hormuz.
Okay.
So we're going to go through these one by one.
Please.
Now, the Lebanon one, predictably, almost derailed the whole process before it even began. Because you'll remember in paragraph 1, Lebanon gets mentioned 3 times as being covered by this MOU. The fighting has to stop here. Benjamin Netanyahu declared Israeli troops would not leave the southern zone that they occupy, which he claims is necessary for the security of citizens of northern Israel. That is by no means the most extreme thing that anyone in Netanyahu's cabinet said. One of our favourites, whose name I can't remember at this point, said all of Lebanon must burn so that the whole world knows that our security and our sons are not up for negotiation.
Yes.
Okay, so not very promising there. The MOU was announced on Wednesday, US time. On Thursday, Hezbollah killed 4 Israeli troops, and Israel retaliated with a bombing campaign in the Bekaa Valley that killed 47 people, according to the Lebanon Ministry of Health. And then there were more skirmishes.
I was going to say, I think at the end of that process, I think it was 83 people died.
Yes, yeah.
And by the way, it's Ben Gvir, the guy.
Ben Gvir, yeah. So that immediately looked like it was going to derail it because J.D. Vance was supposed to arrive in Switzerland on Friday to begin talks. That was abruptly cancelled because Iran was not happy with this at all. What has happened is there was, first of all, a ceasefire on Friday that didn't last very long, but there has been a ceasefire on Saturday that has more or less held since then, or at least both sides are claiming that it has held. But it could fall apart at any moment.
I should also point out, in fact, this is a correspondence. I'll bring this out. This is from Matt, who pointed out that the Israeli military occupation of Lebanon in itself, without any shooting or killing or anything, is just a breach of point 1.
Yes, yeah.
Them just staying there.
I completely agree.
Because it uses one's military to occupy the land of another state. That's a definition of a military operation.
Yes.
And paragraph 1 reads, let's read it out again, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran and their allies in the current war by signing this MOU declare the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon, and undertake from now on to not initiate any war or any military operation against each other and to refrain from the threat or use of force against each other and ensuring the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. It specifically says the sovereignty of Lebanon.
Yes. So in other words, in order for this to survive, that is going to rely on the parties basically pretending that the military operations have ceased, even though there's an occupation going on.
And by the way, you know who agrees that is a that means the occupation is a violation? John Bolton.
They make it very clear here that there's no status of war, including in Lebanon. Now that means Israeli troops have to withdraw. You're in a state of war when you've got troops in another country's territory, and that I'm sure the Iranian interpretation is Israel's got to withdraw. That isn't going to happen, period.
That's John Bolton.
I'm pretty sure that's just because he does not want this deal to happen.
Probably, but still, it's still weird coming from John Bolton. Thank you, Matt, for pointing that out.
Yeah,
go on.
Okay. So that's the first point, and that will be something that is just looming over this for a long time. As I said, it is going to require the parties actually basically ignoring a lot of parts of paragraph 1, pretending that they're being complied with when they are not.
Also, we should note the Syria thing. You remember how Trump was threatening to get Syria involved?
Yes.
Syria specifically said, we are not going to be involved. The Syrian president just said, nah. Quote, we are seeking to build economic ties between Lebanon and Syria, not military ties. Syria can contribute to a positive solution by supporting the Lebanese state, strengthening institutions and building ties amongst Lebanese forces, including Hezbollah, as partial solutions create major challenges.
Right. Yes. Okay. So the second sticking point is about nuclear inspections.
Okay.
So the negotiations did begin. J.D. Vance has been there negotiating. And J.D. Vance made this breakthrough announcement that Iran had agreed to allow IAEA inspect. Did I get that correct?
IAEA, yes.
IAEA inspectors back
Old McDonald's Inspection Agency.
back into Iran for fully transparent nuclear inspections, and that it could happen as soon as tomorrow. And then
exciting.
we got a very familiar response from Iran. No, what are you talking about?
Yes.
We didn't agree to that at all. And they have said that the nuclear issues have to be dealt with later.
The quote from the Foreign Ministry spokesperson was,
Yeah.
We have not had a meeting with the Director General of the IAEA, nor do we have any plans for the agency to inspect Iran's nuclear facilities damaged by the US and Zionist military aggression. So there we go.
Now, Trump just posted in response to that. You want to read it out?
Despite their protestations and false statements to the contrary, coupled with the drumbeat of the fake news, which is doing everything possible to make the US victory as small and insignificant as possible, Iran has fully and completely agreed to highest level nuclear inspections long into the future. Infinity! This will ensure nuclear honesty. If they did not agree to this, there would be no further negotiations. Based on this and other major concessions being made by Iran, I've agreed to allow the Hormuz Strait to remain open with no further naval blockade. However, all ships are remaining in place should it be necessary to reinstitute the blockade, which seems at this point highly unlikely. The money and or sanctions that US Treasury is releasing goes into escrow. I'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
My point
Okay.
is, infinity inspections.
Okay. So we're back to this shit. Trump claiming, no, don't believe anything you hear about the actual negotiations. No, they've agreed to everything. They've just got to say that they haven't.
Yes.
This might be why, according to Time magazine, a whopping 22% of Americans actually believe that the Iran MOU was better for the United States than it was for Iran, including nearly half of all Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to note, though, like, we can look at this back and forth between the United States and Iran, but look at what they're going back and forth over now. They're not going back and forth over Iran's right to enrichment. They're not going back and forth over the stockpile of enriched uranium.
Yeah.
They're going back and forth on, will inspectors be allowed into the country?
Yeah. Not even like a rigorous inspection regime.
Yes.
Will there be any inspectors?
So for anyone who is wondering exactly how much Iran's leverage has increased, this is a pretty good measure of it.
That's a great observation.
Yes.
Can I make one point, though?
Yes,
about
you certainly can.
when we're seeing like dueling potential dishonesties between Iran and
Yeah.
Trump, and you just go, well, who's more full of shit here? I got no idea.
Yeah.
Something is worth bearing in mind, which I think Trump does not bear in mind much at all, is the pressure that's on the Iranian negotiators.
Yeah.
Like, they've got their own problems, and
Yes.
a member of the Iranian parliament this week said that signing the deal would make Iran a colony of the United States. This
Yeah.
deal, the one that favors Iran so much.
Yes.
Another person said it would normalize contact with, quote, the great Satan.
Yeah.
Just having any kind of deal at all. There were protests against Kalabaf and Aragchi calling for their death because they are negotiating with the US.
And Mojtaba said he didn't like the deal, but he would reluctantly agree to it. Now, there's something very important going on here, just beyond the fact that there clearly are people in Iran who don't want a deal. One of what I think is the most important game theoretic articles ever written in international relations was by Robert Putnam in 1987, called Diplomacy as a Two-Level Game. And he pointed out that when diplomats negotiate, they have to be able to come up with deals that are acceptable both to their counterparties and to their domestic audiences.
Yeah.
And quite often, what we would call the win set, that overlap between them, quite often that is very, very small. But he also points out, and this is a point that can never be forgotten in international relations negotiations, the more that you can demonstrate that you are under severe domestic pressure when you're dealing, the stronger the negotiating position you are in.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because the more credibly you can say, look, I just cannot move, or I will literally get killed back home. I mean, it's not usually that dramatic. Usually it's more like, I will lose office. But if you can say, I will literally be killed if we move from this position, the stronger the negotiating position you are actually in. So all of these demonstrations and, yes, this well-publicized, like a lot of the Iranian deep state, for want of a bit of a word, doesn't like these negotiations at all. That is also strengthening Iran's negotiating position.
That's really interesting. To show you how small that Venn diagram overlap might be, the fact, like Mojtaba's great concession that he's made that's different to his dad is that while he thinks why he doesn't like the deal, he doesn't want the deal to happen, he does approve of face-to-face contact between American negotiators and Iranian negotiators.
Wow.
That's the big concession that he's made. So that gives you an idea what they're working with here. Not a lot of overlap. Yeah.
And also, and just thinking about this further, looking at the American side, now, yes, Trump is definitely dealing with a hostile political environment back home in response to this. The vast majority of Americans, for one reason or another, think that this is a lousy deal. But nobody thinks that Trump can be constrained. Trump can't credibly claim, I'm really constrained by domestic politics back home, because Trump has proven time and time again that he can at least whip his own side of politics so hard that they are not going to they're not going to stand in his way. So his domestic strongman thing actually hurts him as an international negotiator. Whereas this Iranian position of, we are the last remaining moderates, we're your only hope of getting any kind of deal, and people back home want to kill us, that's not a position of weakness, that's a position of strength.
Good call.
Okay, so that was the second sticking point. The third is unfreezing Iranian funds.
Yes.
So they're already talking about sums of 10 billion or 12 billion, depending on which report you read. Now, JD Vance has said those funds have to be spent on American medicine and food. He's talking about soybeans. Maybe this is, some sort of tacit acknowledgement that, China's not really buying American soybeans anytime soon, but maybe Iran will. And he's saying, so this funds can only be used to feed the Iranian people and to make American farmers richer. Iran does not agree with this. In fact, I want to read out to you what one of Iran's chief negotiators, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, said in response. The only crop we're harvesting is what the US planted. Decades of mistrust. It's organic, abundant, and homegrown. He added that Washington only exports GMO soybeans, broken promises, and trash talk.
Isn't this the guy that JD Vance said couldn't speak English? Yes. He's pretty poetic, I reckon.
Yeah, so Iran has insisted on its right to use those unfrozen funds for whatever it wants. And look, from what I remember, that was what it said in the MOU.
Yeah.
Is that there was no restriction. It was Iran's central treasury or central bank.
There's 100% no mention in the MOU of you need to use your money to pay American farmers.
Yeah. Yes. As we said last week, Vance, and we will come back to him, he is talking a lot in terms of carrots. This is the very brave face he's putting on it. And, look, it's probably about the best he can do, is basically to say, look, we've got all of these carrots that we will give to Iran if they do what we want them to do. And we've got so many carrots that they're definitely going to do what we want them to do. Yeah, not entirely convincing, but a lot more convincing than some of the other things that have been said in this conflict.
Sure.
Now, this brings us to the fourth point of contention. Our old favourite, our old friend, the Strait, singular, of Hormuz.
Well done, Dave.
Okay.
People are paying attention, mate.
Yes, they are. Now,
Dave's had a plural problem. In the past.
because I'm a pluralist.
That's why.
I am a pluralist by nature. So you might remember we were talking last week about how there seems to be some difficult, ambiguous language in here about exactly how the Strait of Hormuz will be administered.
Yes.
Talking about that it's only the states that actually border the Strait of Hormuz that'll have the right to administer it, but also has to be in accordance with international law of the sea, which would suggest it's open.
Yeah.
Now, there certainly has been a lot more traffic going through the Strait of Hormuz. On Wednesday, it was reported that 70 ships went through the Strait of Hormuz. Now, that's only about half of what we're going through before the war, but still, that is a lot.
Yeah.
Given that for the last 4 months, the most that's gone through in any day, I think, has been 5. Yeah, so there is a lot more traffic going through the Strait of Hormuz now. However, Iran is very insistent that these ships can only go through channels controlled by Iran, that it has to be negotiated, has to be coordinated with the Revolutionary Guard. How serious are they about this? Today, they fired on a ship,
Okay.
a Taiwanese ship called the Ever Lovely. Probably not looking so ever lovely now after it's been fired upon, because they said they were going through Omani waters to try to evade
Yep.
Iran, and you can't do that. So naturally that spiked oil prices a little bit. Now, Trump is insisting, no, the Strait of Hormuz is not under Iranian control. I would say the situation at the moment looks a lot like de facto Iranian control, though.
Okay, a couple of things.
Yes.
First of which is when we're talking about tolls and things like that, we
Yep.
do actually have a correspondence about this.
Oh, okay.
Making a good point.
Okay.
This has become quite clear during the week. The correspondence is from Jamie saying, I hope you've already noticed what you're missing here about tolls and the law of the sea. The plan is for Iran to issue mandatory insurance to vessels passing the strait.
Yes.
You can charge a fee for a service, and the service may be mandatory. For example, the Suez Canal provides pilots and tugs, which is mandatory. Panama Canal produces lock functions, which you need to physically move through. So, yeah, and that's true. That's exactly what's happened. Iran has officially said that all vessels that transit the Strait of Hormuz have to secure a mandatory insurance policy, which they're not charging for the next 60 days. So that follows the MOU.
Yep.
But after that, it may involve charges.
It may.
And that doesn't violate the law of the sea. Even if we're not splitting hairs about which countries and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't break any laws because it's a fee for service which you're allowed to charge.
Yes.
So that's the first thing.
Yep.
The second thing is you're talking about what Trump is saying. I feel like we should show some of his language because I feel it's quite illustrative of where Trump's coming from.
Okay, yes.
So this
You are the Trump reader.
well, in this case, we're going to hear the man himself
okay.
read his own thoughts, or rather, Trey Yingst reading his thoughts in a much less interesting way than I read them out.
Okay.
Over to Fox News.
President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iranian officials overnight and said, you close it and you won't have a country. He went on to tell these officials, you won't even make it back to your effing country.
I would have read that much better.
He sounds like he's auditioning to be Fox's Harry Enton.
He does have a vibe of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he needs to use more metaphors, though.
He does.
And he needs to go zoom a bit more.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, you hear that, Trey? More red cordial.
and more number counting. More 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 threats. That kind of thing. But J.D. Vance said that Trump was being misunderstood by so many people.
Yeah, of course.
He was just trying to set the record straight.
What we told the Iranians yesterday is when you guys engage in what us millennials might call trash talk, you can't expect the President of the United States not to respond and not to correct the record. So when they say things that aren't true, the President is going to respond to it. I'm going to respond to it. Americans are going to respond to it. When they make threats that aren't rooted in reality, they have to accept that the President of the United States is actually going to set the record straight.
Well, actually, first thoughts.
Yeah.
Millennials are getting really old, don't you think? when JD Vance is going, yeah, as a millennial, he's going, shit, yeah, he's a
Millennials
millennial.
did not invent the term trash talk.
No, I know they didn't. That's the second point I was going to make.
Yes.
there's some new history being drawn there.
But was that before or after Galabuff's very cutting comments about how the US's only export is trash talk?
I think that was before. I think Galabuff might have been referring to that.
Yes.
Yeah. Then what you had was the Iran negotiating delegation just walking out. They refused to take a photo with JD Vance.
Yeah.
That shows him.
Yeah.
And they walked out, although the US negotiator said as soon as the cameras were off, they just walked right back and just kept on negotiating.
Yeah, there's an art to this stuff.
Yeah, sure. And Lindsey Graham jumped in to clarify for Trump, as he likes to do, in the most aggressive possible way.
Here's what I think will happen next. If this deal fails, President Trump is going to take the Strait of Hormuz over by force. The United States will control the Strait of Hormuz. We'll charge a fee for all those who go through to pay for the operation. And we're going to expand the Abraham Accords in calendar year 2026. We're going to get Saudi Arabia to join the Abraham Accords, and which is the biggest change in 5,000 years in the Mideast. And if Iran contests control of the Strait of Hormuz by the United States, we will obliterate them.
Lindsey Graham's history book would be very short. Not much has happened in 5,000 years, apparently, other than the Abraham Accords.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm sure that copyright will not allow us to put Mariah Carey's Fantasy in the background.
Yeah.
That little spot. But that was all pretty fantastical.
Yeah. Finally, Trump.
Trump's going to do all this.
Apparently.
Really?
Well,
What with the help of Pete's dragon?
Trump says he's going to do it too. Trump tweeted out soon after that, there will be no tolls in the Hormuz Strait for 60 days during the ceasefire period, and there will be no tolls after the 60-day period is expired unless they're imposed by and for the United States of America, should the deal not be completed for services rendered as the guardian angel to the countries of the Middle East for purposes of both past, present, and future reimbursement of costs. Thank you for your attention to this matter. President DJT, drink.
Yes, and my dad is going to come back from the sea. Yeah. Do we need to talk about JD Vance?
I think let's talk about JD.
Let's talk about JD Vance.
He's in an interesting position, I think, JD.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a headline to a Guardian article today saying, is JD Vance the fall guy?
Oh, do you think Copyright List play that song? That's one of my favourite theme tunes. The Fall Guy.
Yes.
It's a great one. I don't think it will.
Well, this is certainly not the first time this subject has been discussed. This subject has been discussed directly with and by President Trump in public.
This way, if it works out, I'm going to take the credit. If it doesn't work out, I'm blaming JD. You better be careful, JD.
Well, I didn't spend much time in school, but I taught ladies plenty. That's my rendition of the Fall Guy song.
That, by the way, that wasn't some spontaneous funny joke from Trump. That was his answer to a question by a journalist who actually asked him, is JD Vance going to take the blame for this if it doesn't work out, and are you going to take the credit if it succeeds?
Wow, I guess he answered the question.
He did. So that's the point that we're at in American history now. Journalists asking the president at a press conference, are you going to throw the vice president under the bus? And Trump laughing and saying, that sounds like a great idea.
So, I mean, obviously that's one of those, things said in jest, but also kind of true.
Yeah.
kind of things. What do you think? This is my question to you.
Yes.
My question to you is JD Vance seems to me to be eagerly taking this on.
He does.
He doesn't seem to be like, oh, what's going on? Oh, no, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
He seems to actually be embracing it.
Yes, yeah. So I think it's more simple. Sorry, it's it's more complicated
Yeah.
than Trump just setting JD Vance up as the fall guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back, you might remember that when they were talking about negotiations with Iran and that JD Vance would be involved, the reporting coming out of that was suggesting that the US thought that JD Vance would be the most credible negotiator they had because of the fact that it was known that he was against the war from the outset.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's completely true or whether that was a bit of posturing or whether that was a bit of propaganda coming from JD Vance himself, preparing for his own presidential run and wanting to distance himself from the war. But all I'm saying is it is plausible. And as you've suggested, you can see how this benefits JD Vance, right? So he can be the one who says, look, I at least made the effort at getting peace. He will be able to say, I went against the hawks in my own party. I even, to some extent, ran counter to Trump on this. Not that much, but like certainly he could, claim he was kind of reining in Trump's worst instincts on it. But he'll most of all be able to say, Marco Rubio didn't want this. Pete Hegseth didn't. I doubt that Pete Hegseth is going to be running for president. But if he's deluded enough to run for president, Vance will be able to set himself up as as the one who said, I brought this war to an end.
Yeah, and look, I'll read you something from Politico. This is a Vance ally.
Yeah.
He's good at leaking his thoughts. Politico, this ally said, without question, the biggest potential political liability Vance had was the unpopularity of the war in Iran.
Yep.
So it's fascinating to watch his biggest enemies in the GOP unwittingly inoculate him from that liability by branding him as responsible for the peace deal.
Yeah.
He now gets to do a media tour defending the president, aka the kingmaker of our party, from their idiotic criticism of the deal. While even his critics would acknowledge that the vice president's a smart guy, sometimes what really matters in politics is how stupid your enemies are.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of right.
Yeah, and it's easy to lose sight of that because this deal has been so widely scorned and mocked and laughed at. Like, yes, in this immediate moment, you might think of this and think, yeah, who would want to be associated with this? But, like, yes, looking at the actual bigger picture, first of all, that bit about, now he's defending, after having got himself the credibility of having gone against Trump at the start of the war, now he's defending Trump. He's, as you say, is still the kingmaker in the party and still will be in 2028. And in 2028, I believe it's the war itself that is going to be seen as a huge act of self-harming stupidity, not the deal that ended it.
Yeah.
The deal that ended it is going to be seen as a consequence of the war, not it's not going to be seen as the deal itself was the problem.
I agree with that. And I think also it's worth just thinking about the context in which this is going to be happening.
Yeah.
There's going to be a Democrat loudly and proudly standing against the war.
Yes.
On one side.
Yeah.
And, or all the Democrats during their primary.
Apart from Fetterman.
I don't think he's running for president. And then they got, I really don't think he's running for president. And then you got the Republican primary, which is going to, like, you have the Democrats over there saying that. And in the Republican primary, one of two things that happen. Either the war has just been a disaster. The peace has been a disaster. Everything's been a disaster. Everything's on the nose. In which case, you know what? They're all screwed.
Yes.
The stink is still on Vance anyway.
Yep.
Or things have turned out okay, and Vance can say, I stood by my president.
Yep.
I was loyal.
Yes.
And I'm the one that brought the peace.
Yes, yeah.
Marco Rubio slunk away and hid under the Blankie.
That's right.
Like who are you going to vote for?
Yeah. And to come back to this point, he'll be able to say, I told Trump the hard truths at the beginning of the war. Yeah, but I stood by him. Whereas he'll say these others, they were not prepared to tell Trump the truth, because this is another one of these narratives that's emerging from it. It's about how much people were sheltering Trump from the reality of what was going on in the war. There is going to be more of that coming out. Yes, and as they slunk away.
And can I also note that Vance, as the vice president, doesn't really have a job in this scenario. He's chosen to have the job of bringing about the peace.
Yep.
And either he succeeds or he doesn't succeed.
Yes.
Marco Rubio had two jobs.
Yes.
He was Secretary of State and he was National Security Advisor.
Yep.
National Security Advisor is meant to pull together all the strategy documents to come up with some some all-encompassing strategy for the entire war, the entire military. He failed.
Yes.
There was none.
Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't do that job.
No.
As Secretary of State, he's meant to be the one negotiating deals. Where was he? They didn't even have a common document that they could agree on the language of between Persian and English.
Yeah.
There were translation issues. Who was meant to fix that if not the Secretary of State? Marco Rubio was out walking up and down Cuba with his rifle to try and start the next one. He wasn't paying any attention to this whatsoever.
No.
So I actually think he really dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And I think that Vance has an argument to make here. Also, the other thing I'd add, let's look at the people who are setting him up as the fall guy.
Yes.
Because it's not just the quotes, it's the people. First one, Lindsey Graham comes out the gate tweeting, I look forward to reviewing the final products. I believe it's imperative that the architect of the deal, Vice President Vance, and his negotiating partners be part of the process in presenting to the final deal concurrence. So Lindsey Graham is the first one who's trying to stitch him up. Second one trying to stitch him up is Ben Shapiro. The Vice President of the United States, the chief negotiator on this particular project, has not well served the president. Once again, blaming Vance. Hey, which Republicans support Ben Shapiro at the moment?
Yeah.
Not many. And then you've got Brian Kilmeade, the biggest hawk on Fox, who came out and said this.
So I just wonder if the vice president, who was against this, by all reports, was against the conflict to begin with, maybe he wasn't the right person to bring this conflict to an end. We'll find out.
Even amongst Republicans, these are the right enemies to have. Like, I think this suits Vance just fine. And if this blows up in his face, if it's a complete disaster, then he'll screwed anyway.
Yes.
Like, I don't think anything is happening now that's going to make his position worse.
Yep.
It can only make his position better.
Yes.
That's what I'd say.
I think you're right. And as I say, it may not look this way at the moment. Like, there's been a lot of commentary recently about how surprisingly high Marco Rubio is riding with Republicans and that, Vance is out of favor. But yeah, in a couple of years, we might be talking about a very different story. And please don't interpret any of this as a personal endorsement of JD Vance. I still think he's terrible.
It's all right, Dave. They all think that I'm the JD Vance fan. By the way, can I also say, on Rubio 2028, did you see the Haberman quote about him?
No.
Because this is worth noting. I was going to have to say it somewhere else, but I might as well say it here. According to Haberman's book, someone asked Trump at one point in time about all the gold trappings he's got in the White House. Apparently he was actually literally super gluing some more gold shit to the walls.
I saw that.
And he responded.
Yes.
They asked him if a future president would undo all this wonderful work he was doing with super glue and gold. And Trump responded with, Cubans love gold. Which is basically Trump saying the next president is going to be Rubio.
Wow.
Make what you will out of that.
Yep. The super glue was quite a story.
It's quite funny. Do you have more thoughts on Iran?
I don't have any more at this point. I think that is basically where we're up to. Oh, apart from as well, Marco Rubio is doing a kind of mini tour through the Gulf trying to calm down the fears of Gulf allies. Yes. So he spoke at the Gulf Cooperation Conference today in very conciliatory and warm and gratitude-filled language. Like stark contrast to the way that this administration talks about NATO or East Asian allies, saying we really value the support that you have given us. So very, very conciliatory. So that indicates it's not just Israel that isn't happy about this deal. A lot of the Gulf states are very, very nervous about what's coming as a result of this.
Sure. Okay, I'm looking at the clock, but so I'll
that's
move
it
on.
for me.
Okay,
Yep.
I'll just say three quick things.
Yes.
First of which is we've talked about Netanyahu being in a tough position before.
Yep.
I just want to add a thought which I had just read recently, which I thought, this is good stuff, which is that Netanyahu's built, number one, he's built false expectations amongst the Israeli people.
Absolutely.
At the start of the war, 70% of Israeli Jews believed the operation could succeed in destroying Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs.
Yep.
61% thought it would topple the Iranian regime.
Yes.
All those people were wrong. At this point in time, 29% of Israeli Jews believe that ending the war under current conditions is compatible with Israel's security interests.
Yeah.
That's not a good number.
When I've said in the past, Netanyahu's in a really difficult political position, I don't want that to be interpreted as any kind of expression with Benjamin Netanyahu, because this is a situation of his making.
Yes.
He has wanted this war for decades, and he has promised that this would basically be the beginning of a new golden age in the United States. He has depicted Iran as the source of all of Israel's problems.
Yeah.
This is part of his MO of really denying any kind of legitimacy to the Palestinian cause whatsoever, basically saying it's all just instruments of Iran. It is him who has kind of driven Israeli politics into this point of it has to be perpetual war. There can't be any kind of negotiation. There's no real prospect for peace, only some kind of ultimate victory, which he cannot deliver. So this is a problem of his own making. Nobody should have any sympathy for him.
Agree. And another thing about him is that about the expectations he's built, he's sold two promises consistently for years now.
Yep.
Number one, he alone will fight back against Iran.
Yep.
And number two, he alone can control Trump.
Yes.
And now he's in a position where he clearly has to choose between one of them.
Yes.
He's either going to suck up to Trump
Yep.
or he's going to fight against Iran.
Yes.
He can't do both.
No.
And he's probably going to do neither.
Yep.
So that's bad news for him as well. And it's especially bad news because the election is going to be in either September or October.
Yeah.
So it is approaching fast. And the last I saw, an Israeli Democracy Institute poll found 61% of people Israeli Jews that is, believe Netanyahu shouldn't even run for re-election. So that's not a great position for him to be in.
Nope.
Number one. Number two, we got a new cost of the war, which is the price tag the Pentagon is asking for from Congress. It's $80 billion.
Yes.
Just so you know, that's on top of the $1.5 trillion for the defense budget. Thirdly, this is not a point. This is a question for you, Dr. Dave, to finish off on. We saw 2 days ago, the Senate finally did their part of voting for the War Powers Act, the War Powers Resolution. 50-48. The Republicans were Susan Collins, Bill Cassidy, who just can't resist taking every opportunity to get at Trump, Lisa Murkowski and Rand Paul. Fetterman voted against it, and Mitch McConnell he's very close to pushing up daisies, and Dave McCormack missed the vote. Does this matter at all?
Well, I just want to add some more context to this. This vote happened after Trump had berated Republicans over lunch.
Yes.
Okay, especially Bill Cassidy. Right. So
Trump should leave him alone.
Yeah. So according to this report by AP, he called Cassidy a lunatic at lunch.
He probably was. He's an angry man.
Yeah. Lunatic at lunch. That sounds like a Presidents of the United States of America song. But yeah, because what had happened was Trump asked rhetorically, like, who would be in favor of the War Powers Act? And Bill Cassidy said, do you really want me to tell you? And Trump said, yeah, sure, tell me. And then Cassidy gave this angry speech about how Trump had not been telling Congress what was going on in the war, had failed his basic obligations, blah, blah. And that was when Trump then called him a lunatic. Anyway, then that evening, the Senate voted for the War Powers Act. But you know what happened after that? Because this is the United States Senate.
What happened then?
The next day, the Republicans voted down a War Powers resolution.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, including Cassidy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So that was just pointless then.
Here's the AP. Hours later, though, Cassidy received a personal briefing on the war at the White House from Vice President J.D. Vance and Envoy Stephen Witkoff, and returned to the Capitol to vote against a separate War Powers resolution. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, a Republican who has repeatedly voted with Democrats to halt the war, voted present this time to give the president more space and leverage to negotiate a lasting peace, he said on X. So the measure failed 47-51.
That's how you know exactly how far behind I am in my reading. Because I did not know about that.
Yep.
Okay. Well, so that definitely doesn't mean anything then.
Yep.
Let's move on. Haven't done these for a while. I'll just do a couple of quickies. I can't believe this.
Yep.
It's been like 2 weeks. Maybe it's 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
The tarp is still up outside the JFK Centre. It's covering the name change. We got a photo of it here just to prove it. It's still up. Now they say it's up because crews are addressing maintenance needs involving marble and soffit panels.
Okay.
This maintenance only seems to be occurring exactly where Donald Trump's name was, and the maintenance crews never seem to be there. They're the pre-chilled out crew, these guys. They don't turn up to do anything ever. They just leave it there for weeks and weeks and weeks. Anyway, US District Judge Christopher Cooper has asked the administration to report on the purpose and status of the tarp and scaffolding. Do you know when they have to report by?
Like 2039.
It might as well be. July 31. How long does it take for Trump to write the words, "I'm butthurt"? Like, honestly, does it really require 5 weeks? Let's see how long Trump can spin this out. Either way, that fragile an ego, that sore a loser, Dave.
Yep.
It's not normal. Like I said, the Haberman Swan book, Maggie Haberman, John Swan. And by the way, for those asking for us to interview them, we have put our request in just like everyone else, and we are never at the top of the list. So we'll see eventually. Quite a few stories doing the rounds from that book. How is this, though, for an insight into how lawless the Trump administration is? Mm-hmm. How unnormally lawless.
Yes. This ain't super glue.
No. This is a quote from their book. I'm going to read the quote. I remember there was this lawyer who was in the administration who said the election was fair and there's no fraud. Who was he? Trump asked. Oh, the DHS. I think you're talking about the DHS guy, Miller replied. I forget his name. Epstein then Googled Krebs' name. Yeah, Chris Krebs. Trump said according to the book. Whatever happened to him? He was a bad one. Take a look at him. The DOJ dutifully opened an investigation. Could you more clearly indicate that Trump has an enemies list when they have to Google the guy's name to work out who he is before they start a DOJ investigation on the guy?
Yeah.
Just to be clear, the reason why Trump thought he was a bad one was because Krebs thought the 2020 election was legit. That's why, right? So they are investigating people that they need to Google to even know who they are simply because those people disagreed with the president once. Not normal. It's not normal, Dave.
It's not.
It's not normal.
No.
Got another one from the Habermans.
All right.
I'm just firing them out.
Lay it on.
This is, actually, you know what? I'll let the CNN reporter tell you about this one.
In March, Maggie and Jonathan Swan go to the Oval Office for a formal sit-down interview with the president. He's very proud about some presidential historian has given him this document, which he says shows he's more powerful than Hitler and Stalin and Attila the Hun. I'm not sure why you would want that comparison. And he's proudly reading it and showing it to them. and they can't figure out who the presidential historian is. And they start searching, name doesn't show up, but the president had said that this historian was a friend of former Hall of Fame golfer Gary Player. So they search Gary Player, the historian. The historian is Gary Player's former caddy and confidant.
Now, look, maybe it's not true. You hear the stories, and sometimes they're not true. Maybe that one's not true. I like to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's true. Trump actually tweeted out this document last week with the caption, presidential historian Dave King sounds good to me. And he tweeted out the whole document so you can read it for yourself. Well, next thought. Okay, it's true. Fine. I'll concede. But maybe the fact that guy's a caddy doesn't mean he can't study history. Historians can be caddies. That's okay. Why don't we look at what he has to say? Why don't we look at this historical document to see the wisdom of this historian, this presidential historian? I'll start off. Donald Trump is, without question, the most powerful man that the planet has ever known by a long way. Historically, powerful people were characterized by brutal conquest and the fear that they instilled in the populations that came under their influence. Common names that would come to mind are Alexander the Great, the Caesars, Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun, Tamburlaine, Napoleon, and more recently, Hitler, Mao, and Stalin. The overwhelming difference between each of the above when compared with President Trump is their lack of global reach. Their power was limited to restricted local areas, even though some of these areas were quite large in a local context. They had nowhere near the control over modern logistics, manpower, technology, and the global economic muscle that President Trump can enforce. Come back to me. Freeze. Are you telling me that Attila the Hun didn't have the control over modern logistics, manpower, technology, and global economic muscle the 21st century president has? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, and you know what? Like, everyone in Panama knows who Trump is. Yeah. Who in Panama knew who Attila the Hun was?
No one.
No one.
Zero. Like, literally zero.
Probably zero.
Definitely zero. In the 1200s or whatever. This historian is a genius. Such eye-opening research. But then he goes on to spell it out because, that was a wild ride. I need him to back over it just to explain the ins and outs of this amazing thought. So he spells out person by person how, say, Alexander the Great and Attila the Hun weren't as militarily powerful as someone with thousands of nuclear weapons. It ends with this. The collapse of communism, even though Russia and China have never been truly communist countries, has seen the USA emerge as the first truly global superpower. Additionally, President Trump is the first leader to be willing to use that power on a global scale. That makes him, by far, the most powerful person that has ever walked this planet. So, now that might seem kind of pointless, like just to say, well, the most recent president is the most powerful person ever. Like Joe Biden was the most powerful person ever before Donald Trump, and so on. At one point in time, I know Jimmy Carter was the most powerful person ever.
Yeah. Spencer Pratt will be the most powerful person ever when he's president.
There you go. But my favourite bit is at the end.
Yeah.
Trump apparently likes to enthuse about how William the Conqueror has the coolest name. That's a quote from him. He has the coolest name. So this Dave King fellow ends off like he's talking to a spoiled 8-year-old about William the Conqueror. On the final note, I touch upon the president's reference to William the Conqueror. William, who was from Normandy in France, only conquered one country, England, in 1066, and thereafter, English nobility spoke French as their first language for the next few centuries. But William never even conquered Scotland or Ireland. He has no significant historical value outside of England. If President Trump is the American eagle, then William the Conqueror was merely a sparrow. So, first of all, no one has ever called Trump the American eagle.
No.
But secondly, Trump has never come off more like Joffrey from Game of Thrones. Tell me how powerful I am, sir.
Well, I mean, this is the sort of thing that you want to hear when you find out that you can't fix the reflecting pool. You want to hear that despite that, I'm still the most powerful person who ever lived. Look,
it's so pathetic.
I want to make a serious point.
Please.
In relation to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
the fact is there are a lot of the world's strongmen at the moment are very pale imitations of their genuinely powerful 20th century counterparts. I've made this point before. Putin is a poor man's Stalin. She is a poor man's Mao. With Trump, he might be able to ride roughshod over the United States government. He might be able to berate European leaders to the point where they just have to flatter him endlessly in order to get anywhere. That might look like power. Compare that to what Franklin Roosevelt was able to do to the United States government. He basically, he didn't entirely bend it to his will, but he bent it a lot further than anyone would have believed was possible. And in terms of accumulation of executive power, he did it more than anybody, Trump included. And in terms of what he was able to do to the world, much, much bigger than what Trump was able to do. Now, okay, so all of these figures, Mao, Stalin, one of their attributes was they killed tens of millions of people. Roosevelt didn't, but if you look at what the US military did during the Second World War, they killed a lot of people, and that was the biggest military ever assembled in human history.
And what he was fixing to do before he died.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we know what Harry Truman did, but what would Roosevelt have done?
Yeah, so to some extent, I'm actually grateful that we now live in an era where people aren't powerful enough just to kill as many people as could happen in the mid-20th century. But I do want to make a serious point that strong men are not as strong as they used to be. One of the things that Mao and Stalin and Roosevelt did, as well as killing a lot of people, it was mobilizing a lot of people. The sheer scale of mobilization and often of moving people around from one part of the country to another that happened in the 20th century, we don't see anything like that kind of exercise of power happening anymore. And this is why I don't think any of those figures are actually as powerful. Now, certainly people could and will object that, well, you're looking at power perhaps in a very 20th century way, and power is no longer just about this kind of mobilization of people. It's command of global logistics that this guy was talking about or whatever. But no, in political terms, mobilization of people is actually very important to all forms of politics. And I do believe all of these leaders are politically weaker, right? Stalin was able to push the Nazis out of half of Europe and establish Soviet hegemony over half of Europe for 50 years. Putin can't take 20% of Ukraine. In terms of what Chairman Mao was able to do with the transformation of Chinese society, and granted a lot of that was utterly horrific for the people who lived through it, compared to, Xi Jinping has been a very significant leader of China, but nothing like the kind of transformative leader that Mao was. And even though Xi Jinping has been able to throw his weight around within the communist elite more than anybody since Deng Xiaoping, he is actually a lot more politically constrained by Chinese public opinion than someone like Mao ever would have been. So I actually think, there was a book written about Putin called Weak Strong Man. I think we're living in the era of weak strong men. And this is sort of, this document just brings this to mind. Like, we're actually living in an era of people who like to pretend to be as powerful as their 20th century counterparts, but are nowhere near that powerful.
That's really interesting on a number of levels. The first of which is I've never heard people compare Trump to a poor man's Roosevelt before. I thought you were heading towards
poor man's Reagan.
No, I thought you were heading towards maybe a poor man's Nixon.
No. I'm just talking about in terms of a figure who.
No, I know what you're saying.
Genuinely transformed. And I'm not saying Trump hasn't done nothing. I think Trump's done damage to the US government that may never get fixed.
No, I know what you're saying. Also, I thought maybe you were heading towards Mussolini as well.
Yeah.
But no, you're heading towards Roosevelt, which I thought was interesting. And I think you made your point well. The second thing I'd say is while you're talking there, I was trying to think, why is this? Because I think you're right.
Yeah.
But why is it? And the first thing that occurs to me is a lot of these figures you're talking about had their maximum power at a time when the stakes were very high.
Yes,
like
that is
during
very
World
true.
War II
Very, very true.
Like you can get the population to do a lot more when they feel like it's a matter of life and death.
Yes.
Yeah, like whereas now the stakes couldn't be lower for a lot of these situations.
Yes.
Like reflection pools.
Yes.
Right?
That's right, yeah.
But the other thing is, I think it also reflects that in absolute terms, and in maybe not relative terms, but at least in absolute terms, there are a lot more rich people now than there used to be.
That is very true.
And a lot more powerful people.
Yep.
And to the extent that there are a lot more rich people than used to be, and a lot less poor people.
Yes.
Because you can push poor people
a
lot easier than you can push middle class people around.
Yep.
Not only, and that's worldwide. There's a lot fewer poor people now than there were.
Yes.
Than were 50 or 60 years ago.
Yes. Yeah.
At least as a percentage of the population on Earth. But the other thing is, I think digital technology is a real leveler. Like, if you're in the 40s or 30s, and you are a peasant or whatever, you're not going to fight against a plane, like a fighter pilot or something. Like you just can't. No. You can't take that. Whereas now, increasingly, the weaponry and the technology and the ground we're playing on is digital.
Yes.
And if you're good enough and you have the right tools, which don't necessarily cost money, a lot more people can take on the big guy. Than could have been the case in the 40s or 30s.
Well be the case.
So I think that might be part of it as well.
Yes.
But it's an interesting observation.
Yeah, and I just like to, everything I've just said, this is not based on deep academic research or anything. No. This is just, this is speculation. And I am, I'll be happy for people to disagree with me and to point out, like, you're thinking about power the wrong way, or there are a lot of things that you're not thinking about here. Very happy to, to have a conversation about this.
I'll skip a bunch of these. As always, I have too many of these. But I actually have a genuine question.
Yes.
Which I want to play you a clip, and then I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
All right.
Some of them had no mental institutions. The mental institutions were taken. All of those people were taken to our southern border and allowed to just walk freely into our country under Sleepy Joe Biden.
Okay, now we've heard him talk about freeing people from jails and mental institutions before and so forth.
First 5 minutes of Scarface.
Yeah, but in this case, he's acting like all of them are from mental institutions. And it suddenly just occurred to me when I was watching that clip. Hang on. Does he actually think that's what asylum is?
It's possible.
I mean, this
is something.
I'm not being smart ass here. I'm actually in my own mind. I'm not sure.
Something El Hardy suggested to me before. Yeah. It might just be around a persistent misunderstanding of the term asylum. Because who's going to explain to him that he's wrong? Yeah. On that note, you will be completely unaware of this because this happened today.
Yeah.
But the Supreme Court has upheld Trump's right to basically dismantle the whole asylum-seeking process.
This will be undoubtedly something I'm talking about with Melina.
I'm sure it will be.
Yes, that's right. Not much Supreme. I've got some court stuff which I may or may not get to at the end. But
next week you're going to get the birthright citizenship decision.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Well, we might actually leave Melina's until after the court stuff's over because we're going to talk a lot about the court stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And the only court she wants to talk about is the court on which the New York Knicks won their first championship in 53 years.
I think we all know what Melina's grateful is going to be.
Yes.
But let's put the end to that segment.
This is not normal.
Okay. This actually is the intro to the next segment as well. In that, the most not normal aspect. Actually, no, before we do this, let's take a little break. I've been talking for a little while.
Okay.
And you sent us a clip that you wanted us to play.
I did, because you might have seen over the last few months a lot of commencement speakers getting booed. This has really been a major season of booing graduation speak.
Dave, did you bring up AI?
I did not.
Ah, you're smart. You're a smart man.
Anyway, yes. I wanted to show you a graduation speech that didn't get booed. Mine. So a few weeks ago, you might remember, I sent an update. It was something to do with the Strait of Hormuz, and I was wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Which is not my usual work uniform. Now,
he says.
The reason for that is I always wear a suit to go to graduation ceremonies. And I always go to a couple of graduation ceremonies every year, usually when my own students are involved. And so on that day, there happened to be 2 graduation ceremonies, one with a lot of my government international relations students, another with a lot of my American studies students. I wasn't originally planning on going to the second one, but at the end of the first one, as I was removing my academic robes, I was informed, or we were all informed, the speaker for the next graduation is too sick to give their speech. Does anyone have a graduation speech ready to go? Now, I did not have a speech ready to go, but I put my hand up to do it. So this is half an hour before the next ceremony began.
Half hour?
Yes.
That's an eternity for you. You come into it for 3 hours with no notes whatsoever.
Anyway, so we're going to show you at the University of Sydney, we call it an occasional address, which I gave on half an hour's notice and no preparation.
Enjoy.
I've seen enough of these speeches to do one. First of all, I'd actually like to thank all of the staff who organise the graduation, who I don't think get thanked enough. Thank you for organising such a beautiful ceremony today. A bit more interactive than usual, but that's okay. It's a celebration. It's supposed to be. I was sitting exactly where you are in 2003, so 23 years ago. A lot of graduation speeches start like this. Usually, though, they're given by someone who then went off and did something, had some world-changing career. I did go off. I went to the University of Michigan for 7 years. I got a PhD in political science. I came back here in 2011, and I've been here ever since. So I don't think I can really go down that route. I've got too many students who I have taught in the room to be able to pull the wool over anyone's eyes about what my career actually involves. I didn't change the world, I just told you what regression analysis was. But I can give you a few pieces of advice, which is really based on teaching, especially about American politics and religion. The first piece of advice is protect your attention span. You should think of your attention span as one of the most personal and valuable things that you own. And you should remember that nobody else has, a divine right to intrude on it. Unfortunately, we live in a world which is currently geared towards constant intrusions on your attention span. This is sometimes known as the attention economy. And over the years, I've just come to think of this as a really insidious thing. Now, I want to be clear that I don't support social media bans for anyone, because when social media bans are proposed, they're nearly always being proposed for other people, right? So we currently have a social media ban for children. In my experience, it's not children who need the social media ban. It's people my age and possibly above. So I would encourage you to ban yourself from social media. I did that back in 2020 when things got a bit too much around the US election. And the good news is, if you have destroyed your attention span, it can be rebuilt. I found I was really able to rebuild my attention span after I got off Twitter, as it was then known. I was able to read books and things like that again, and it was one of the best things that I have ever done. So even if it's impossible for you to do entirely, I certainly do encourage you to reclaim your attention span, because the less attention that you're giving to all of that, the more attention you can give to the people who you should be giving attention to, like your partner, like your family, like your co-workers, like your friends. The second piece of advice is, don't be a bad faith actor. Okay, one of the big problems with political discourse, and in fact one of the big problems with the attention economy, is that there are so many people out there just saying things for the purpose of being heard and being recognised, and provocation. Provocation is really what gets rewarded in the attention economy. Now, this creates a lot of problems. And one of the big problems it creates is a kind of second-order problem, which is when you're constantly seeing bad faith actors going on about things that they don't believe in, you start to assume that everybody that you disagree with is a bad faith actor. And that is not true. It's really important, even though it can be very hard, you have to make the effort to actually assume that people who disagree with you are disagreeing in good faith. Now, they might not be, but you're much better off starting with that assumption, because if you start with the assumption that everyone is acting in bad faith, you will go down the most nihilistic dead ends of the culture wars very quickly, because you will start to be a bad faith actor yourself. If you assume that that's what everybody else is doing, you will see that as a license. You'll see it as something that you have to do in order to survive in this environment. My third piece of advice doesn't actually come from teaching American politics. It's a piece of advice that my father gave to me, which I still rate as the best piece of advice I ever got. So my father was an ordained Christian minister, an exemplary preacher, a man who made the walls resound. And I remember he was taking me out to a wedding that he was presiding over when I was about 8 years old. We were driving somewhere off in the Adelaide Hills, and he said to me, "David, I'm going to tell you something very important. A wedding sermon should never be longer than 7 minutes." Now, you might think that's a weird piece of advice to give an 8-year-old, but there is a reason that it has stuck with me. Time discipline, when you are asked to talk to other people, is extremely important, because time is also a resource. It's both a shared resource and it is a zero-sum resource. If you are speaking, that is somebody else who is not speaking. So if you are given the privilege of getting other people's attention, don't abuse that privilege. Say what you have to say it quickly, and then get out of there. Okay? So Dad, wherever you are, this is Penrith. I'm actually at 6 minutes in this speech. I did it. Now, look, I know there are some of you who have sat through my 3-hour seminars who are saying, "You utter hypocrite." And yes, I do also admit that I co-host a podcast with Chasler Chidello about American politics that routinely goes for more than 3 hours a week. But to recap everything that I've said, protect your attention span, don't be a bad faith actor, and if you do have to make a speech, make it less than 7 minutes. Thank you. And let me just note that even then, I was not speaking for the University of Sydney.
But you didn't make the disclaimer, did you?
I did not make the disclaimer.
Shoddy.
But anyway, that is the only time that I've ever advertised PEP at the University of Sydney, even if I didn't explicitly mention the name.
Well, I enjoyed it, and I'm going to pretend that you mention it all the time. Okay, now where I was going before, I remembered we were going to do that, was this is not normal presidency, I think can be best summed up with this stupid story we've referred to a couple of times already, which is the reflection pool. Very silly story. I've never liked it, but people are really into it. They're into it more than pretty much any other story this year, I reckon.
Yep.
And I kind of get it. I understand why they're into it. Number one, it's easy to understand. There's no complications. There's no legal technicalities. Number two, the evidence is there for us all to see. Mm-hmm. People can't spin you. They can't bullshit you. Yep. The water is blue or the water is green. People accusing you of being biased, it doesn't work if the water is green.
You're clearly not familiar with the philosopher Nelson Goodman's famous term, GRU.
You're right. Is this to do with Minions?
No.
Okay.
No, this refers to a well-known problem in analytical philosophy with the projectability of metaphysical properties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he talks about a property called GRU,
Yep.
which is green up until a certain point in time, but blue from that point in time onwards. And at a certain point, you can't tell the difference between green and GRU, or blue and GRU.
I'll have things I'll never hear in a Trump tweet for $500, Alex.
Okay, yeah, he's probably not talking about GRU.
Probably not.
Yes.
Probably not. 3, there's also Trump's desperately unsuccessful attempts to spin it, which make it funnier.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact they're just so blatantly unsuccessful.
Yes.
4, this is the easiest story in the world for the media to cover. They literally just walk outside from their offices and pull out a camera and then file their story.
Yep.
And 5, I think this is the biggest reason people love this so much.
Yeah.
And in fact, I do like this as well.
Yep.
This is the Trump administration on safe mode.
Yes.
There's no one getting hurt, no one getting killed, no one getting sacked, no one getting defunded, no one getting sick, no one getting jailed, no one getting threatened.
Yep.
There are 0 actual stakes here.
Yes.
It's just green water. How funny is that? We can all enjoy it as entertainment without any guilt whatsoever.
Yes.
So I think people like that.
Yeah.
And finally, I think this could be the best encapsulation of the second Trump administration than any other story. It's got every element. I actually wrote them out. I have 17 elements. They're in every Trump story, and we've got them all here.
Yes.
Shall I go through them?
Please do. Although, just before you do.
Yeah, go for it.
You said no one's getting jailed.
Well, yeah. Well, that has no one's getting jailed. No. People are getting arrested, Dave.
People are getting arrested.
They're not going to get jailed.
Probably not.
That's one of the points.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, go on.
All right. These are the elements in every good Trump story. Number 1, you have an issue that's been around forever. In this case, the scungy-looking pool. No one cares about this issue until Trump decides to make a thing out of it. 2, he doesn't just make a thing out of it. He talks about it endlessly instead of the war, instead of unemployment, instead of important stuff.
Yep.
He's literally holding it up as a prime example of why he is superior to all presidents before him. Thus, he invests importance in a story that isn't important. And he creates a problem for himself to solve.
Yes.
That he didn't have to create.
He really didn't.
Most presidents, they've got enough problems without creating problems. Trump ignores his problems and then he chooses to create new problems and focus on those problems.
Yes.
That's a very unique aspect of this presidency. We don't hear about deficit.
No.
We don't hear about like the aging society or something. We don't care about any of that shit. No, what we hear about is the pool isn't blue enough. Point 3, experts weigh in very early on about the problems here and what will be required to fix this problem. And he ignores every one of them, every time. If they were working for him, he'd fire them.
Yes.
In this case, they weren't working for him, but he still ignored them anyway. Point 4, instead of experts, he tells us about how easy this problem is going to be to solve for him.
Yes.
Because he has special expertise in this particular field.
Absolutely.
He did one of these things once on one of his properties, and so he knows all about it. Nobody knows more about X than he does. This, of course, then builds more pressure on him to solve the problem.
Yes.
He's constantly building more pressure for himself. Point 5, he completely ignores the proper governmental process you're supposed to follow when hiring people to solve this problem. If Congress is legally meant to be involved in this in some way, he ignores that.
Yep.
Instead, he picks the very finest people, he says, to solve this problem.
Yes.
5 minutes later, we learn the very finest person was a no-bid contract issued to an unqualified mate. Point 6, the next day we find out that mate is also a large donor. Point 7, experts say, well, what Trump's people are doing, it's kind of weird and it's kind of wrong and it's not going to work. But Trump says, I'm not even listening to them. This is working perfectly.
Yes.
And it is perfect. Point 8, Trump's people sent out a variety of pics and videos of the brand new project. Some are real, some are AI. You can't tell which are which. But all of them are singing Trump's hosannas for fixing this problem. Like only Trump could fix this problem, even though we have no idea if the problem's actually been fixed yet, because this is still like day one. Right? But then point 9, it becomes really obvious within a few days that something's going horribly wrong. Trump denies it. He says everything's perfect. Trump supporters says the press is deranged and in denial. Then point 10, the press start becoming obsessed about the fact that they can clearly see they are being lied to and things are going wrong. And then it becomes a massive story. Point 11, Trump supporters start getting bitter about how this proves the press are out to get Trump. Point 12, Trump finally admits that things have gone wrong. He can't deny it anymore, but he blames nondescript crimes and conspiracies involving the left. He appears to be making things up without any evidence at all, and much of what he says contradicts something else that he said a few days ago. Point 13, Republican media spread these made-up stories as if they're all gospel and true. The press becomes obsessed with wanting evidence for any of these claims. They keep asking, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? The story gets bigger. People say the press is even more out to get Trump. Point 14, Before long, Trump has completely forgotten about solving the problem, and instead he just places all the focus on just getting it right for one moment in which he can claim victory. And then when our attention wanders, he'll just let it fall apart. This is not how presidents are meant to work, but it's how Trump works. Point 15. Trump gets some arm of the military or police involved who have way better things to do than this. He treats this stupid problem he created like it's an actual emergency, possibly writing an executive order to officially declare it as an emergency. He makes those emergency workers top priority, trying to prove that crimes are being committed and to blame the left for what has gone wrong. He has as many people arrested as possible on dubious charges. Point 16. At this point, Trump fans can tell this is not working out at all. And so they start complaining about the media's obsession with this story, as if it's the media who is pushing this, even though Trump tweeted about it 29 times in the last 25 days. Point 17 is the final step, which we're not up to yet, Dave, but it's coming.
Yep.
It's where all those people end up having their charges against them dropped a month after the event is over, and we have all moving on and completely forgotten this event ever existed. And Trump fans never mention any of those arrests ever again. Those, Dave, are the 17 steps of every shitty Trump story.
That is possibly the best summary of the entire Trump presidency I've ever heard. That is one of my favourite things you have ever done on PEP.
Thank you.
That was magnificent.
Make a Minority Report like video postcard.
Yeah, this one's a definite short. Yes.
Thank you. For now, do you have anything to add before I move on to this week? Because I've just said...
So what's happened this week?
Because I want to focus on the last 4 steps.
Yes.
That's this week.
Yeah. No,
last week was the first 13 steps.
Yeah, no, I do not have anything to add to that other than David Roth, who writes for Defector. Some of his observations about the state of the reflecting pool. He likened it to, the scene in Gremlins, one of the Gremlins movies where all the Mogwais have been thrown into the pool, just generating this green mass. Yeah, he said that. He said, or some kind of Boston Tea Party reenactment, but just with matcha. Yes.
I have seen some of his writing. He's been having a good time.
Oh, he has been having a good time.
Some of his articles, if you like a nice turn of phrase, some of his articles have literally 8 or 9 different metaphors for the pool.
Yeah.
He just pulls out one after another.
He's the master of that. Yeah.
Okay, so this is not going to take forever, but I just want to go through the last 4 steps.
Yes.
Sabotage. Now, we know what caused this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
For real. We know what caused it. There's no mystery to algae, okay? It's been around for a while. We all know how it works.
It was around before us.
Yes.
It'll be around long after us.
Very good. Jurassic Park, Dave. It's there because the reflection pool is extremely long and shallow, and it's the middle of summer, so there's lots of water with lots of surface area, and it's been heated up.
Yes.
The fact they have dark blue sealant on the bottom of the floor there traps more heat, makes it even worse.
Yes.
Furthermore, they are using water from the DC municipal water supply, and that water is treated with phosphate to keep the lead from leaching out of their old pipes. That phosphate provides the perfect nutrients for algae.
There you go.
Then you've got the bird and the duck droppings, the runoff from the grassy areas around it. It's a whole lot of phosphates are being run into that pool. The DC water supply alone has been measured at containing between 1 and 4.5 milligrams per litre of phosphates, generally peaking anything over 0.2 of a milligram per litre is considered an algae risk. Anything over 1 milligram per litre, which is the minimum of the DC water supply, is considered super fertiliser for algae. These are the perfect conditions for algae. That's why it's there. Now, early on, it apparently was more the blue-green cyanobacteria kind of algae, which is an extra problem because that stuff is toxic for the birds, which is why the odd dead duck has been turning up. It's because of that cyanobacteria, right? But then they started pouring hydrogen peroxide into the pool.
That's right.
Which, to be fair, is not a terrible idea on its own.
No.
Okay, like people go, hydrogen peroxide, that's going to kill everyone and everything. No, actually, it's actually the most environmentally reasonable toxin for the bacteria.
Yes, it would be better than pouring chlorine in, for example.
Yeah, it breaks up into components and it's...
Hang on, I think I'm just repeating something that you said last week.
No, I know, but I'm just...
Yeah, okay. This is what happens when I watch these YouTube videos.
But if you want, just leave a dead bacteria just floating around. What that's doing is keeping the phosphate levels high.
Right.
And it's clearing the area for green algae to take over from the cyanobacteria, right? Which it has.
Yep.
And green algae is much more resistant to hydrogen peroxide and nanobubbling machines than the cyanobacteria is. And it's quite stubborn. And that's why they've created such high levels of green algae. They've removed the competition.
Right.
Which is why there's more than at any point in time any point in June for the last 5 years. All right, that's the reason why. No conspiracies needed. But Trump's been trying to run with a line that everything was perfect until the sabotage. Ours worked perfectly, including the mirror-like finish, perfectly reflecting the two great monuments which it never had before. What these terrible vandals have done is a true affront to both Presidents George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. I'm sure they both really care, and should be dealt with accordingly. They took some form of knife or blade and put a 250-foot-long gash into the beautiful facade of what took so much work, competence, and money to build and complete. They also poured corrosive and destructive chemicals into the pool.
And they were cackling the whole time.
We need the Scooby-Doo kids to expose them.
And no one saw them doing it.
That's right. Even though the whole area has CCTV.
Yes.
The entire area. 250 feet, hey? That's interesting. A couple of days later, that 250 feet became a 300-foot-long gash. And then the day after that, it became...
And then they cut a 200, 350-foot slip in the form of lots of little slips.
I don't know what that means. The only problem is, like you said, Dave, reporters can't find any of this supposed growing gash. Not only do they not see the people slashing stuff, they can't even find the gash.
So they're saying people waded into the reflecting pool.
Maybe it's because there's a reflection. It's hiding the gash. I don't know. Anyway, this
was he like waved in with a machete between their teeth or something, and then took it and just started like frenetically gashing.
That's what's happening in Trump's mind. But the point is, the press can't find it.
One thing we still can't find is any evidence of a gash along the floor of the pool.
But the reporters have been down there today looking for that slit that you mentioned, and there's no evidence of it.
All you'd have to do is see the Parks Department.
So we asked, but neither the White House, Interior Department, nor National Park Service have provided any more proof.
Trump has also previously said it was literally impossible to cut the sealant with a knife.
If you had a knife, you can't even cut it. So strong, so powerful. It's like powerful rubber.
He's always contradicting himself.
Yeah. And he spends a weird amount of time thinking about people cutting swimming pool sealants with knives.
It's a vivid image.
What incident is he telling us about from his past?
You think he's telling?
Yeah.
I know what you did last summer, Trump. You slashed sealant. That's what he did. Also, the New York Times got their hands on some government documents, Dave, and I'm going to quote them.
Yeah.
Government documents obtained by the New York Times show that while National Park Service workers found 2 cuts in sections of foam between the pool's expansion joints, those were not directly related to the American flag blue coating that is now peeling, or to the algae that's turned the pool a bright shade of green, while a June 9 report by the US Park Police described the cuts as razor blade slashes made along a 20-foot-long stretch of the foam. The administration is yet to present evidence supporting that assertion. That's what they've got in the documents. Somewhat different from a 350-foot gash. And most importantly, this is very important.
Yes.
And this is a point I can't believe more people haven't made. Let's say there's a 350-foot gash, Dave.
Yep.
What's that got to do with algae?
Yes.
Nothing. All that would do is create leaks. Like, leaks don't create algae.
Yeah.
Leaks have nothing to do with algae. Leaks don't create more water or more heat or more nutrients. So even if Freddy Krueger was there just slashing away, it would make no difference to the algae whatsoever.
Elon Musk was down there with his chainsaw.
Yes. It makes no difference.
Yeah.
Like, it's irrelevant. So I don't know why he's talking about these gashes because of algae. Still, it won't stop him arresting people as some kind of proof.
6 have been arrested, and like 6 or 7 are under investigation. They have pictures and everything else. They went to the bottom, and it's not a paint job. It's very expensive. It's not rubber, but it's like rubber. And they went down with probably a box cutter or a very sharp razor of some kind or knife, and they cut, and then they started ripping it up. You know why? Because they're sick people. And then the side of the pool, right at water level, they took razors and they started cutting this, very expensive stuff. It's incredible stuff. It's beautiful. And it was and it's still beautiful. But we have one area where they cut it, it's still holding, it's not leaking. But they heard it. So in about maybe after July 4th or maybe before, I don't know, we'll let a little water out because it's at the edge. They'll cut it, they'll replace it, and it'll be as good as new. But
I feel like it's time for us to take stock on exactly how low the bar has become for what makes someone a sick person. There was a time when you had to murder someone, you had to rape a child or something, do something unspeakable to a dog.
Yeah.
That was what you needed to do to be sick. Now, you just need to cut some sealant, and that makes you a sick person.
Sick. Sick person.
The bar's too low. It's too low. There's a lot of sick people out there if that's the bar.
But also,
yeah,
if just an average tradie was fixing your pool and offered that explanation,
yes,
do you think you would want to hire them again?
No.
No.
No. No, I wouldn't. But before I didn't hire them again, I'd ask them, what the hell did they have to do with algae? That's what I would ask them. Okay, so I should say his numbers of arrests at least do check out. According to the New York Times a few days ago, at least 5 people have been arrested for supposed vandalism. There have been 14 citations. I don't think any of those people did anything other than touch the water or the sealant floating around.
Yes.
He literally accused ABC News' Jonathan Karl of being one of the saboteurs. Literally. He said, lightweight ABC reporter that Jonathan Karl was seen sticking his hand into the pool and trying to rip the rubber off the surface. There's no footage of that.
No.
There's no footage of people wading into the middle of the pool with a knife and gashing a huge hole.
While laughing.
Yeah.
Sickly.
Cackling maniacally, yes.
Yes.
But there is footage, Dave, of Trump driving his entire convoy of cars over the pool like an idiot. Have you seen that?
I remember this.
Yes.
Yeah, that looks like something that could potentially cause problems.
Look, I'm not saying, to be fair, I'm not saying that's the cause. I'm just saying it wouldn't have helped.
It definitely wouldn't have helped.
That's all I'm saying. There is a conspiracy, though, that does make a little bit of sense.
Yeah.
Once again, I'm trying to be fair.
To be fair.
Trump has also claimed the vandals dumped fertilizer in the pool. Now, unlike slashing the sealant, that would increase the algae.
It would.
If someone did that.
Yeah.
Right? So that at least makes a vague amount of sense. Now, obviously, it would be on camera, and we haven't seen any video of people pouring in bags of fertilizer.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that footage. And it wouldn't be necessary, of course, because there's plenty of nutrients there already.
Yeah.
Recall the super fertilizer water I described before. But at least that conspiracy makes sense. That's my new bar. Tell me something that makes sense, Trump. Tell me something that isn't stupid. That's all I want.
Is Tom Hanks a donor to the Democratic Party or a known supporter of Democratic candidates? I think he might be.
Maybe. I mean, he's a Hollywood. I saw him have a go at MSNBC the other day, but it might have been loving.
There's visual evidence of him polluting the reflecting pool.
Really?
In the movie Forrest Gump.
He ran on the pool?
He ran into the pool.
Oh, my God. I mean, look, that would be 10 times worse than a convoy of cars.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe he's the... Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is behind everything.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes, he is.
That's one more thing he's behind. You've exposed the sickness.
Yeah.
Yes. Meanwhile, not only have they had made all these dubious charges, which I fully expect to be dropped soon, point 17, remember that?
Yeah.
But they have called in also the National Guard, which I think was point 15 from memory, to protect the pool. They literally have all these guards just standing around for a pool, right? And they're like, he shows the surveillance. They've got these high-tech AI surveillance systems that they're just wheeling around as well.
That is amazing.
I don't know why they need them.
That's way better than using your eyes.
I was going to say, just if you're driving a car, you can just walk around with a video camera. You don't need the AI system. But apparently, the AI system it detects threats and it sends out strobes and spotlights to deter crime. Apparently. I don't know. Seems like overkill to me. And now they've begun putting up security fences around the pool as well. Can we have a look at the fence, Lockie? We got that as well. So, look, that's going to stop people touching the water. Of course, none of that will stop the algae.
No. And this is all like he wants to make it more beautiful by putting a security fence up around it.
That's right. And so what they're doing now is they're draining the water again, vacuuming as much algae out of it as possible, and then they're going to fix up the sealant and try again. Sadly, though, Lockie, if you play the footage, you'll see that the heavy rain isn't helping drain the pool very much. Not much is going right.
The ducks are enjoying it, though. The ones that are still alive.
Well, the rain helps them live, you know? So that's good news. Look, they do have time to clean and refill the pool before July 4th, of course. But if they don't filter out the phosphates out of the water when they're refilling the pool,
yes,
or maybe add some aluminium compounds in to bind to the phosphates or something like that, maybe add some zooplankton in to eat the plankton.
Yeah.
Unless they do something else, it's going to be back in 2 days.
It will be.
Not that Trump will care as long as it's filled up by July 3.
Yes.
So then July 4 it can look beautiful. He can boast, and then July 5 we'll have all moved on to the next controversy.
Yes.
Which I think was point 16 from memory. Dave, you got any thoughts?
Well, yes, this did result in one of Trump's greatest Truth Social posts ever.
Which one was that?
So just before we look at this truth,
yeah,
the context of this is, remember last week how Greg Gutfeld was saying the right understands trolling and the left doesn't?
I do recall that, yes.
Well, there have been a bunch of people showing up at the pool claiming to be pro-algae protesters.
I saw this. Yeah.
Protesting against the removal of algae.
Yes.
And you know who clearly hasn't understood this trolling?
Is it Greg Gutfeld?
Well, Greg Gutfeld doesn't.
Yes.
He had a piece saying pro-algae protesters have algae on the brain, so he doesn't. But Trump doesn't either.
Oh, okay.
Take a look at this. Okay, so for those of you who can't actually see this, this is a guy in a pink frog suit holding one of the more tasteless protest signs I've ever seen, saying, first they came for the algae. So, okay.
Oh, hang on. I should note, the frog has written on them FIFA.
FIFA.
Yes.
FIFA.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's have a look at what Trump wrote about this.
Okay.
Like, here is another example of a crazy pro-algae, likely paid protester.
Yes.
Who would be paying for this shit?
Algae. Big algae. Big algae's like a millimeter long.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, now, like this is a great piece of trolling because, first of all, it's absurd, and second, it is utterly tasteless.
Yes.
But Trump just wants to explain to you the first they came for the algae reference,
Right.
just in case you don't get it.
That went over my head, so explain it to me, please, Trump.
The sign says first they came for the algae, which is in reference to a famous post-World War II statement about Germans not speaking out against the Nazis.
Oh, it is too.
Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me. Then there was no one left to speak for me.
Oh, how am I supposed to react to this?
It's actually not a statement. It's a poem.
Am I meant to be outraged?
And it goes for a lot longer than that. It says first they came for the socialists, blah, blah, blah.
Sure, but how am I meant to react?
I think you're meant to be very upset.
Oh, my God, I can't believe they did that.
How could anyone be this pro-algae?
Throw him in the jail for 10 years.
Yes.
How about
Now, do you think that the guy who's holding this sign is dressed in a big pink frog outfit with Amphiphar written on it might indicate that they're not entirely serious about their pro-algae protest?
Oh, dear.
That maybe they don't think that this is actually like Nazi Germany? Anyway, that is one of Trump's greatest.
That is a great tweet. I agree with you, and I am outraged, and I am strongly of the opinion that does not count as humour or trolling, and that if you're going to troll about the Nazis, it's only funny if you are massively anti-Semitic and acting like a Nazi yourself. Ideally, engaging in a Nazi salute and saying hi. That's the only thing that's funny.
Yep.
That's legitimate trolling. That's it. That's the only thing. I've learnt this from
right.
From the MAGAs. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So,
It's,
I mean,
good stuff.
I thought this story was stupid last week. Little did I know.
Yeah.
I ignored my own made observation that there is no bottom.
Dave, there's 8 days till July 4. I'm gonna have 35 points in this story by the time we're finished. There's so much more to go. We're only halfway through.
So much more.
Yeah. Now, Dave, while you're going strong there, tell me about this housing bill.
Okay.
This is good. This is good. This is policy.
Yes.
Sorry, I was so excited and so keen about this policy time sting. I just blew Lockie's headphones out. Sorry, mate. That woke you up.
I've told you before, but I might not have said it publicly. Of all of the stings, it's policy time is the one that just gets me the most. Like, that's the one I suddenly find myself singing at home.
It's because it's about policy.
Yeah.
Everyone loves policy.
You know, the guy who made that sting actually came 11th on Hottest 100 a few years ago.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yes.
It's very appropriate that you mention Triple J's Hottest 100. I'll come back to why.
That's a seed.
In just a few moments.
And grow into a beautiful tree.
Yes. So, a very rare piece of bipartisan legislation passed the House and the Senate this week.
Tell me about it.
Aimed at increasing housing supply in the United States.
Yep.
Now, it was a very, very complicated piece of legislation. Basically, dozens of bills were put together to make this legislation. It took a lot of work to reconcile the House and Senate versions of it, but they got there in the end.
I'm looking at the numbers. They're pretty big numbers.
Yeah.
85 to 5 in the Senate.
Yep.
358 to 32 in the House.
Very difficult to get votes with that level of consensus.
Yeah.
Before I go into the details, I'll say housing supply and house prices are a huge problem in so many countries. And I don't think that anybody has found the policy levers to completely fix it yet. I don't know if this will, but this seems like an important step that you actually have political agreement on taking actions. And there was a lot of stuff in this bill that reflected positions from all over the political spectrum. Like there was, on the one hand, cutting regulation. On the other hand, supporting more public housing. So there really was actually a bipartisan attempt to create something big here. And, I mean, yep.
The quote I saw from Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. This bill is not the one I would have written all by myself, but there are some really big wins here that made all the work and all the pain totally worthwhile.
Absolutely.
That's how legislation is meant to work.
And, I mean, the big centerpiece of it was something that Trump actually foreshadowed in the State of the Union address, which is placing really big limits on the amount to which institutional investors can own property.
Yep.
Right. So really trying to take big institutional investment players out of it as massive landlords in order to free up more supply for people who want to buy houses, to live in them as homes as opposed to investments.
And just to be accurate here, it's not like this is a massive problem.
No.
It's not like I don't remember the exact number. I think it was it's in the single digits, like 6% of homes or something.
Yes,
It's
small. It's not the biggest problem.
But everything helps.
Yes.
And if you have 10 of those reforms, they add up.
Yeah. And also, though, that was a bigger acknowledgement of the reality, which I don't think we have got to in this country where we are sitting at the moment, which is that houses are first and foremost homes rather than investments.
Yeah.
Yes, people being landlords, that does create that creates rental property, which is an important part of the property market. But this is the sort of thing that people are crying out for, this acknowledgement that houses should be first and foremost treated as homes rather than as investment vehicles.
Absolutely.
And
and by the way, they're not evenly spread, these equity properties around America.
Yes, they're not.
In particular, I'm led to believe that Atlanta has a very large number of them, which means that house prices in Atlanta will go down solely off the back of that legislation.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So does this all sound good to everyone so far? Not perfect, but at least good. You don't want to make the perfect the enemy of the good.
Well, before you get into Trump, can you tell me more about the legislation? Like in terms of who's the person who was driving this? Like who should we thank for this?
Something this big, there were a lot of people driving it. I don't know who because there were like 12 different bills involved in the combination of this. I'm actually not sure who was primarily responsible for it. I admit I haven't researched this as much.
That's fine. And just for you, because I know where you're going, and we're about to move off the policy, and this is policy time.
Yeah.
So, are there any other smaller elements of it that you think are just worth just name checking of just like little things? Like you said, for instance, regulate like that there was less regulation or something.
Yeah. There was deregulation. There was more support for public housing.
More housing supply.
Yeah. So more support for local governments to supply public housing.
I saw one thing I saw was that they removed the requirement for manufactured homes to have a permanent steel chassis beneath them.
Yes,
and that alone is going to knock the cost of new units down by 10.
Yeah.
And I can presumably you don't need them, otherwise they wouldn't have got rid of it.
Yep.
and then that's good that option is there. You know.
Yeah.
And there's an innovation fund, I believe, that rewards communities that build more housing.
Yes.
It's like so rather than you telling them, prescribing how they're going to do it.
Yep.
You just give them money if they do.
Yes.
And let them do it their own way, however they do it. I've got a few other my things. Is there anything else you want to mention? Or
No.
Okay, go on to what you're saying.
Okay. So there was supposed to be a signing ceremony for this on Wednesday. And Republicans were very excited about this because midterm elections are coming up. Their attempt to make the midterm elections all about the big, beautiful bill have failed pretty dramatically because the economy was so rooted by the Iran war that people didn't even notice the kinds of tax refunds they were supposedly getting. Then, with the Iran war finally over, then we have a week of reflecting pool shenanigans. Right, so Republicans really needed something to be able to take to the American people saying, look at what we are doing to ease the cost of living crisis. This was supposed to be a victory lap.
Yep.
This brings me to Triple J's Hottest 100.
Oh.
In 1996, I believe, there was a surprise hit, made it into the Hottest 100.
Macarena?
No. That was before the days when the Triple J opened it up to things like that.
Yeah.
No, it was Allen Ginsberg's Ballad of the Skeletons. Yes. And do you remember the opening lines of that?
No.
Said the presidential skeleton, I won't sign the bill. Said the speaker's skeleton, yes, you will. Okay.
Keep going.
No. Anyway, so Trump suddenly declared out of nowhere, I am not signing the bill. Remember, this is on Wednesday. So this is the same day he's just gone and berated the Senate over lunch.
Yeah.
So he's in a bad mood.
Bad day.
And he said, nope, I'm not signing this bill until you pass the SAVE Act.
Oh, my God. Him and that. Act.
So the SAVE Act, if you don't remember, this is Trump's obsession with election security.
Yes.
This is his number one legislative priority about getting more rigorous voter ID, and you have to provide proof of citizenship and all this stuff.
And for some reason, there's something about boys and girls sports.
Yes,
as
that's
well.
in there as well.
And what's the other one? There's two of them.
Eliminating mail-in voting.
Mail-in voting. And I thought there was one other completely irrelevant thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but he's just obsessed with it. Yeah.
So that has to get passed.
Yeah.
Now, he has tried tying this to other things as well, like the renewal of FISA, which we will come back to.
Yes.
But this is this is his latest thing. No, I will not sign that bill unless you pass SAVE.
And there's also a really hidden bit of bastardry there, which
Yeah.
I imagine most people listening to this won't have picked up on, so I'll just spell it out for you. He didn't say he was going to veto the bill.
No, he did not.
He said, I'm not going to sign it.
Yes.
And that's important because if he's vetoed the bill, then Congress could overturn that veto because they had such big numbers. But if he doesn't sign it, they have to sit there and wait.
Yes.
Which is like a filibuster. It's like a presidential filibuster.
Pretty much a filibuster.
Yeah.
Now.
So that's bastardry.
Okay. Now, Mike Johnson did not follow Ballad of the Skeletons and saying, yes, you will. He definitely hasn't said that. He's never going to say that to Trump. He's been making some conciliatory noises about needing to talk to the rest of issues. But the thing is, the Republicans in the Senate have repeatedly said this act does not have the votes. SAVE is never going to pass. I don't know how much more clearly they could have said this. Yeah.
I think what he doesn't get
Yeah.
is he keeps thinking that when they say that, they mean, we don't have the votes to overcome this filibuster. In which case he goes, yeah, get rid of the filibuster. I think he understands when they say that, what they mean is you don't have 50 votes.
That's right. They don't have 50 votes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, this raises the interesting question of, yes, what does happen when the president just doesn't sign the bill? Well, after 10 days, it becomes law anyway. That's what happens. So,
Really?
Yep.
This is going to become law in 10 days.
Yes.
I didn't realise that.
That's what I've been reading.
Oh, look, I'm behind, so...
Okay, can you just check that?
I'm sure you're right.
Yeah, I think it is. If the president just doesn't sign it, it still becomes law. But Republicans really wanted a signing ceremony for this. They also don't want the appearance of a bill becoming law without Trump actually agreeing to it.
Yeah.
So you know what the House leadership has courageously done?
What have they done?
They have not sent the bill to Trump's desk for a signature.
I see.
So that is the situation that we are in. It does. Now,
I had no idea if that was the case.
because it never happens.
Yeah.
Never. You would not. We would have no reason to. I didn't know until I read about it because this never happened. The president never just said, "No, I'm not signing that." You vetoing it? No.
Well, then my presidential bastardry point doesn't apply. It's not a filibuster. Well, at least it's only filibuster for 10 days.
It is for 10 days.
That's a pretty piss-weak filibuster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, well, there you go. You learn something every day on PEP, I hope.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but he is just going to sit there sulking and, listening to I've Never Been to Me or whatever he does when he sulks. And the House, but this is the thing, it could go for a lot longer than 10 days because the House is trying to save his face by not sending him the bill at all. Now, I don't know how long they're going to be able to do that because I imagine there'll be a lot of pressure just to put this into action. Of
course.
Given this must be the first piece of genuinely bipartisan legislation that we've seen in this Trump presidency.
Like real bipartisan. I think it's a big call, Dave. There's often a lot of stuff that we don't even know about.
Oh yeah, like renaming post offices.
But not just that, but like just technical shit. I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few bills of technical. shit.
Yeah. But this one's big. This is policy. This is one that they'd actually want to tell people about.
Yeah, sure. And you're right. Housing is such a big issue. It's and the fact, honestly, I'll give credit to the Democrats. The fact that they're happy to give the Republicans this win.
Yes.
That is impressive for the Democrats.
Yes.
And the fact the Republicans or the Trump is too stupid to take advantage of that.
Yep.
When they're handing him this win.
Handing it to him.
It's very strange.
Yes.
Like, ironically, okay, what I was about to say is, you guys can be the judge of this. I was about to say, ironically, the marginal votes that he might win from this housing bill are probably greater than the votes he would deprive the Democrats of.
Probably, yeah.
By being a dickhead with the SAVE Act.
Yes.
It'd be close. Because we've been through this before. Like the SAVE Act, at least at first, is unlikely to make a massive difference. Over time, it would make more of a difference.
Yeah.
But,
and there are ways it could hurt Republican voters. Yes.
Totally. So it's just his obsession with the SAVE Act is just so frustrating. But as you say, it's not just here. There are heaps of bills that he's blackmailing with the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
Like you said, Section 702.
Well, yes. So let's move slightly sideways now. And this links quite nicely because it involves a former head of a mortgage or federal mortgage authority.
Oh, he's still there.
Bill Pulte.
He hasn't gone away. He's got 2 jobs now.
Oh, I should have known.
He's chucked a Rubio.
I should have known. We are, of course, talking about Bill Pulte.
Yes.
Favourite of the podcast.
Absolute favourite.
So he was made the acting director of national intelligence.
Yes.
It's Bill Pulte time.
Thank you. Love that sting. Who was that? Let's give credit. Dan. Thank you, Dan.
Yes. So with 0 qualifications whatsoever. He's a real estate guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't say he was qualified to head up a mortgage authority either, but he at least came from the same field.
One qualification.
Yeah.
The qualification of being incredibly partisan and willing to do whatever Trump wants.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only qualification that matters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So his appointment, that caused a massive backlash from both Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah. He doesn't have the votes from anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, he really doesn't. But Trump loves him.
Remember, Scott Bessent wanted to punch him in the face.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Trump loves it because he's the guy who's been trying to get all these prosecutions happening.
That's right.
Like Letitia James and the Federal Reserve lady whose name escapes me for a moment.
Janet Yellen.
No, not the woman who the property, the woman who had the property issues. Yeah, Lisa Cook.
That's right.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me if they had gone after Janet Yellen.
You lose track of them
for
all.
some reason.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe she cut the pool.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Bill Pulte's there.
Yeah, but he's he's only ever acting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Congress wants someone permanent.
Yes.
You can't just have non-permanent. Well, no, you can. Trump's been doing it a lot through his presidency.
And Joe Biden did it as well.
Joe Biden did do it.
Don't forget it. That made me very annoyed when that happened.
And remember, this all comes back to Tulsi Gabbard's resignation.
Yes.
Yes. After she was asked to mount a lot of investigations that went nowhere into various people that Trump didn't like.
But the key to this is that there's one more loose thread which we need to tie up, which is that there's this surveillance act, section 702 of the FISA Act, which allows some degree of domestic surveillance.
Yes.
Without this act, you need a warrant to surveil any domestic person, even if they're talking to a foreigner. Like as soon as there's a domestic person involved, you can't go there.
Yes.
Unless you have a warrant.
Yep.
Except for with Section 702. Section 702 allows you, if they're talking to a foreigner, to incidentally domestically surveil.
Yes.
That's what it allows you to do.
So this was first put in place under George W. Bush.
Yes.
And it has been renewed.
Yes.
Every year.
Until now.
Yes. Is this because Congress has suddenly grown a spine?
No.
Or a conscience?
No.
No, it is not. It is because of this shit.
It's because of Bill Pulte.
It's because of Bill Pulte.
Because they want some leverage, because they know Trump can do whatever he likes with the acting DNI head. And so they go, right, if you want to have Bill Pulte, well, we're not going to let you have surveillance authority. How do you like them apples?
Yeah.
And normally Trump would go, oh, okay, I'll appoint someone else that you like. And in fact, he did. He did. He came with Jay Clayton, who they were all going, yeah, cool, look good. Let's fast track him so we don't have this Bill Pulte clown.
Yeah.
Let's get him to be appointed, to be confirmed before Tulsi Gabbard even goes.
Yes. By the way, Jay Clayton is not good.
No,
he also has absolutely no qualifications for this job.
But he's not Bill Pulte.
No.
Yeah.
But he's been very insistent that the 2020 election was rigged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if there was a vacancy for the presidency and someone said, oh, why don't you get Kermit the Frog to be president? And people go, oh, really? And they go, yeah, it's Kermit the Frog or it's this pile of shit underneath my shoe.
Yeah.
They go, okay, I'll take Kermit the Frog. That's Clayton. And Bill Pulte is the pile of shit underneath my shoe.
Yeah.
That's the analogy.
So there have been, there have been Democrats expressing enthusiasm for Jay Clayton, albeit the kind of Democrats you would expect. Yeah. Jay Clayton is about to go for confirmation hearings, and it's expected that he will get through easily. Right. He's not going to face that kind of opposition. And then all of a sudden it's announced by Donald Trump that these hearings are not going to happen.
Why not, Dave?
Well, can a president of the United States cancel confirmation hearings?
No.
No, he cannot.
No, he can't, because that's a different branch of Congress.
Yes.
It is.
But the way he announced it was, he might have used the term, it's hereby cancelled. Yes.
And Tom Cotton,
yeah,
who, by the way, is he's not an enemy of Trump.
No.
Tom Cotton is, he's on Trump's side. Tom Cotton said, well, you know what? That's our hearing. We're going to hold the hearing. Thank you very much.
He
so
did.
even Tom Cotton stood up to them.
He did.
And then Trump said,
he's withdrawn.
Yeah, Trump said, hey, Jay, the guy who's going to turn up to this hearing, don't turn up to the hearing.
That's right.
That's right.
Yes.
And Jay said, yes, sir, because that's what they do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. So he has derailed his own nominee because he wants Pulte to. The explanation he gave was
so confusing.
Yeah, it was like Democrats want this process to happen so quickly that Pulte won't be around when FISA is renewed. Now, why does he need Pulte to be around when FISA is renewed? First point. Yeah. Like, he has nothing to do with the legislation itself. Second point, that was the whole point for Congress. They would only sign it if Pulte was gone.
Honestly, I don't know why I'm doing this, but
yeah,
it gets even more complicated.
Yes.
Because then he also said,
yes,
you can't have Jay Clayton be appointed until we confirm his replacement.
Yes.
And there's no reason why you have to confirm his replacement first.
No.
The job he's going to is much more important than the job he came from.
Yes.
But Trump's just trying to be, well, he's trying to be a nuisance.
Yeah.
Because to replace him, you need to go through what they call blue slip process. I'm trying to not get into the weeds here, but it just gets deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
The blue slip process is basically the senators from a state, when there's some kind of appointment for that state, have like a veto over that state, which they call a blue slip.
Okay.
Even to this day, you might find this hard to believe because they don't talk about it much. They tend to respect it. Like, so Republican presidents tend to respect Democrat senators' blue slips.
Okay.
And Democrat presidents tend to respect Republican senators' blue slips.
Oh, that's nice.
Which is lovely. And Trump, he doesn't want this at all, of course. And so Trump's just got a bee in his bonnet about trying to smash blue slips, even though John Thune, the head of the Senate, is very happy with this blue slip scenario.
Yeah.
Trump wants to just destroy it. Anything that involves comity or bipartisanship, he wants to destroy. He genuinely hates bipartisanship. And so he wants to destroy this if possible. So he is just trying to have some kind of what he wants is he's nominated someone to replace Jay Clayton that he knows the Democrats are going to blue slip.
Yep.
And he wants to force John Thune to ignore the blue slips so then they can replace that person. So then Jay Clayton can replace Bill Pulte. So then they can have Section 702. But then on top of all of this shit, which is so complicated, and I can feel you all just beating your heads against a brick wall at the moment, on top of all of that, he's also insisting that the SAVE Act has to be passed.
That's right.
For any of this to happen.
Yes.
None of this makes sense. His motivations aren't clear. It's just frustrating. It's just gridlock for gridlock's sake because he's pissed off.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
It's heroic of you to even attempt to explain it.
Oh my God. How much reading has gone into this? How much wasted time? And it's just at the end of the day, it is really just, he's just having a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
He's just a 6-year-old having a temper tantrum.
Yep.
Because he's angry at the Senate for a number of reasons. He's angry at them voting against his war. He's angry at them voting against, I've even forgotten the ways they've stood up to him recently, but they've stood up a number of times, like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Ballroom, that's
Yes.
right, yeah. The slush fund.
Yeah.
Like there's been a few times they've stood up to him recently. Now he's just got the shits and he
Yes.
just wants to stop them doing anything.
Yep.
Unless they give in to him.
Yes.
His dominance display.
Yes.
But sadly...
But remember, he is the most powerful human being who has ever lived.
I was going to say, yes, sadly, a wise man
to-
said they're a very weak, strong men at the moment.
Gary Player's caddy.
Okay, I think we did that justice.
I think we did.
I'm going to mention something which I bet you haven't heard of.
Okay.
And I bet many of the Peppers haven't. This is exactly what Pep's there for. It allows me to vent about things that other people haven't read.
Okay.
So, the next thing, it's relevant to what we're talking about because the next topic I know he's going to pull the SAVE Act on is the NDAA, which is the Defense Authorization Act. Funding the army, right? Funding the military, it's due.
Yep.
And they're getting really close to having the bill. And I just know Trump is going to say, I am not going to fund the army unless you pass the SAVE Act. Now, you might go, stop punching yourself in the face, Trump. Stop punching yourself in the face. But he's going to do it because he's obsessed with the SAVE Act.
He
right?
is.
Here's the thing. There are some nasties in the NAA. We've talked about a few of them already. I want to tell you about one you might not have heard of. In this case, I approve of the SAVE Act issue because it stops this bill passing.
Okay.
It's going to be pretty quick. But in 2020, Congress passed the Corporate Transparency Act, which many people have not heard of. what the Corporate Transparency Act was about was it was another one of those very bipartisan bills.
Yep.
And it came over the top of Trump's veto. Trump vetoed it in 2020, and the Congress had enough numbers they came over the top. It created a shell company database. Until 2020, there was no shell company database. There was no way people could know about the wealth. The government could know about the wealth being hidden in shell companies.
Yes.
And that was a paradise for for cartels and for money smugglers and like dodgy people everywhere. Like these shell companies,
algae enthusiasts,
exactly. Especially in Delaware, Nevada, Wyoming, they had just like huge numbers of shell companies, right? And it was a great way to get ill-gotten wealth past the law. Because basically Switzerland or Liechtenstein or whatever in America. And so this bill created the tiniest bit of transparency. It forced people to fill out a 5-minute form to disclose the company ownership of their shell company. That's all it did. And by the way, it didn't even invade their privacy. They didn't even publicize it. It's a private register. It's just for law enforcement authorities.
Wow.
It's not for anyone else. In England, they're all public. In England, you can go and search all these shell companies. In America, they didn't even do that. It's just like the FBI can have a look, guys. That's all we want, which you'd think is the bare minimum. It says this is an important bill from 2020. And until then, cartels, Chinese money laundering networks, Iranian proxies used to use all these shell companies, dubious terrorist groups, etc., sheltering their wealth. But anything which attacks financial crime and corruption is no friend of the Trump administration.
No.
So last year, Trump announced this. Exciting news! The Treasury Department's announced they're suspending all enforcement of the outrageous and invasive beneficial ownership information reporting requirement for US citizens. This Biden rule has been an absolute disaster. This was under Trump. This Biden rule has been an absolute disaster for small business nationwide. Furthermore, Treasury is now finalizing an emergency regulation to formally suspend this rule for American business. The economic menace of BOI reporting will soon be no more. Excellent news.
It wasn't a Biden rule.
No.
It was legislation passed by Congress.
That's right. So, under this administration, they're no longer enforcing the law for US shell companies. Don't need to worry about prosecution. For now. There is a statute of limitations, though, Dave.
Yes.
That law's still on the books.
Yep.
And a few months later, Trump's Treasury Department announced it was destroying the database entirely. But the law was still on the books.
Yes.
If you formed a shell company and you didn't go through the requirements, Trump wouldn't do anything. But the next president might.
Yes.
And that was hanging over their heads, right? Until Congress got involved again. In late April, Trump's allies on the House Financial Services Committee pushed through legislation by a 1-vote margin to repeal the requirement that US shell companies divulge their true owners. They claimed it was an onerous burden.
Such an onerous burden.
They dubbed it the Repealing Big Brother Overreach Act. It's been a long time since I read 1984, but I don't remember the part where Big Brother stopped Iran committing terrorist acts through sheltered finance. I don't remember that bit. Anyway, you'd never guess who it was sponsored by. Warren Davidson. He's one of the moderates.
Yeah, he is.
But anyway, last month, he's obviously a bought moderate. Last month, the Senate introduced similar legislation aiming to attach it to the NDAA, which means if you pass the military bill, you pass this. And that's where we're at.
Wow.
So that hasn't got much coverage.
No.
But it's something that I'm paying a little bit of attention to.
It is pretty significant.
I think they need to pass the SAVE Act first, Dave, before that goes.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I'm going to take a stand on this one. But, look, 528, man. You done? Or I mean,
I'll just say something very quick about the New York primaries.
Go for it.
Okay, so New York primaries were held this week, and it was pretty much an unalloyed victory for Zoran Mamdani and the candidates that he was backing and the left of the Democratic Party generally.
Yes.
The most significant results were the House results, We have seen the decline of Dan Goldman.
Yep.
Dan Goldman is quite a significant legislator. He was the leader of the Democratic Party's impeachment efforts.
He's
back
Mr.
in
Impeachment.
2019. He was, he was kind of a hero back then, but very publicly backed by pro-Israel groups.
He literally endorsed by AIPAC.
Yes, in a primary where that was a big issue. He was defeated by Brad Lander. Do you remember Brad Lander?
He was, third in the mayoral race?
Third in the mayoral primaries.
Buddies with Zoran?
Yeah, he and Zoran cooperated with each other pretty significantly.
And they formed ads where they clasped hands and shit.
Yes, during those primaries. So,
by the way,
yes,
Lander and Goldman, their actual policies on Israel, pretty much identical. But Goldman was sponsored, so it was endorsed by AIPAC.
Well, Land has also said that Israel's committing a genocide.
Yeah. I'm talking, during this campaign, he's been trying to separate himself. But if you look at over the years.
Lander and Mamdani, they were openly at odds over that. But anyway, so he is out. The chair of the Democratic Party Congressional Hispanic Caucus, 5-term Congressman Adriano, sorry, I'm going to get this pronunciation wrong, probably Espaillat, is gone. Yeah. Or Espaillat is gone, toppled by Daria Liza Avila Chevalier, a doctoral student who's joined pro-Palestinian protests at Columbia University.
And she's what I was referring to before. When I was talking about people saying stupid things when they're at college, she said plenty.
Okay.
But you can hold someone accountable for what they said at college, or you can allow them to move on.
Yes.
And I'm allowing her to move on because I don't raise the stakes on inconsequential views.
Okay. Absolutely. So those were really significant. Those are really significant legislators who were defeated by left-wing insurgents. Some other notable, or maybe not so notable results, maybe they're only notable to people like us. Caroline Kennedy, former ambassador to Australia, her son lost.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
He came third or fourth or something.
Jack Schlossberg. So this is the grandson of JFK, was defeated by Micah Lasher. This was in a race to succeed Jerry Nadler. Lasher was Nadler's aide. So Kennedy's, outside of weird Trumpian conspiracy theory circles, maybe don't have the star power that they used to. But, and I'm sure that this will resonate as a tragedy with everyone.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
George Conway.
Yeah.
The ex-husband of Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway lost a New York race on Tuesday.
Same race.
Yes.
Schlossberg came third and George Conway came fifth.
Yes.
Yes.
He managed to win only about 6% of the vote.
Yeah.
Mamdani made no endorsement in that race. Okay, so this is a pretty familiar story by this point. Republicans are definitely convinced, or at least they're pretending to be convinced, that this really helps them. That, the left-wing lunatics, will make Democrats unelectable.
I feel like the Republicans are talking more about this than the Democrats are.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good reminder that one of the big lessons over the last 10 years is being labelled as an extremist doesn't hurt anymore. And candidates are succeeding when they promise people that they will do concrete things. Doesn't matter if what they're promising might be unachievable. If they say, the government can do concrete things for you, it hasn't been doing them. When I get into power, I'm going to do them. That is a far more palatable thing to voters than weak defences of the status quo.
Yeah, and there's a great example there of Claire Valdez, one of those three.
Yep.
Promised to cut all taxes for income below $92,000 plus all payroll taxes. And I wouldn't like to see the red ink after she does that.
Yeah.
But that's promising something.
But look, the label socialist isn't as terrifying as it once was. And also because of the shift over the last, 4 years or so of candidates from the left really being, or more last 2 years, really being completely focused on material issues, cost of living, poverty, sort of not really touching identity politics very much, with the exception of Gaza being a major issue. A lot of the stuff that Republicans just assumed is toxic to the American public, that's not what the American public is seeing. That's not the way that they're seeing these candidates.
Well, you're saying socialists. That's not where we're at. Trump's tweeting out, America the Beautiful will never be a communist country in response to those wins. I want to ask you before you go, Dave.
Yes.
On this note, though, where you are, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, but in my view, obviously, their positions are not going to be a problem in these far left seats, deep blue seats. Obviously, I mean, Chevalier is by a mile the most left out of those three.
Yep.
I actually think the other two are just normal Democrats. I think they're all getting bunched together because Mamdani endorsed them, but actually Lander and Valdez, I think, are just updates of what already exists. Chevalier is another level. But having said that, that's one, and there's going to be probably 20 moderates elected in the next 6 months to balance her out from the middle of the country. Right? But my question is, she's going to win because she's in a deep blue seat. Is, in your view, there anything to the suggestion that there's some significance of Mamdani endorsing people and getting them to win seats? Like there's some suggestion that this is part of a movement or this has some consequences at the beginning of something extraordinary. The right are going, oh, look, they're all turned to the left. They're gone crazy. And like, is there anything to this at all? Or are the people just making a mountain out of a molehill?
No, well, the way that they are looking at it on the left is politics is a slow, arduous process of movement building. And that is what's happening at the moment. And that they are building a grassroots movement that is now being spurred by political successes. Yeah, so they would say that there is great significance to this. This doesn't mean that nationally the whole Democratic Party is going to go way to the left. What we are typically seeing at the moment is that the kinds of Democrats who get elected tend to reflect the local politics of their various areas, right? So, you know, Abigail Spanberger is a good example of this. She's like what you'd call a typical Virginia Democrat in terms of how centrist she is. Democrats who get elected in Iowa are not going to be people who call themselves socialists, who are going on about free buses or whatever. I suppose the point I'm making is left-wing Democrats getting elected in New York and probably Los Angeles and a lot of other and Maine, this is not going to, as Republicans are fervently hoping for, suddenly poison the entire national Democratic brand. And also, as you know, to make a point which we've made before, the Democratic brand is barely going to matter at the next election. And it may not even matter in 2028 because of what has happened to the economy and what has happened to people's economic perceptions, what's happened to Trump's approval rating. That is what's going to matter.
Absolutely. And I was going to say as well, this is what should happen. In deep blue seats, they should have really left people.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, and you know, in Alaska, they should have Mary Patola, who we'll be talking about in the second after the white flash, and she's not like them.
No,
this is like you look at what happens when the squad came in 4 years ago. It was 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Was it 6 years? 8 years ago. 8 years ago. Jeez. 2018. It was 2018, wasn't it? Or was it 2022? I don't remember. You look at.
It was 2018.
It was 2018. Yeah.
Yeah.
You look at when the squad came in, and where are we now as a result? Did they change the Democratic Party? No, Schumer's still there, and all the rest of it. Like what happened was one of them turned out to be quite a good politician.
Yes.
And we're still talking about her.
Yeah.
And the other three turned out to be not such good politicians, and we're not talking about them anymore. Right? Like it's just, and the same thing will happen here. One of these people may be a star, maybe none of them will be a star.
Yeah.
The reason why Chevalier, and I will talk a little bit more about her after the white flash, the reason why she won is not because she said, I am standing for the violent overthrow of the American government, like she did when she was at Columbia University. She did not say that. That was not her platform. What she did was she just talked about the usual shit, like all the other people on the left talk about, all the same issues.
Yes.
And New York said, yeah, we like that.
Yeah.
So we vote for her.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Espaye, or however you say his name, he happened to take money from AIPAC.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder how that's going to work out for him in New York at the moment. Like, it's just, these things are basic politics.
Yep.
And people try to make the story what suits them and their party and their politics. But in reality, I think what's happening here is politics as usual, and people just interpret it how they want to interpret it.
That's all right.
I would say.
Yes.
Anything else you want to add before you go, Dave?
No.
No. Okay. Well, on that note, Dave, thank you so much.
Of course.
Thank you for your speech that you shared with us before.
My pleasure.
And thank you for the first, 6 months of the year?
6 months of PEP, yes. So I will see you in 3 weeks. I think you're going to do one more before you go off on holiday.
Yeah,
right?
I think probably more like 4 than 3.
4, yeah.
I think that the plan is, I'll have to confirm with everyone, supervisor and stuff, but my plan is to come back 2 weeks early before Planet America comes back.
Okay.
So that way we don't have the same problems we had at the beginning of this year, which was I spent 2 months trying to catch up for all the stuff I didn't do before we came back.
Yes.
So that's the plan. So so about a month after
All right.
a month after the holiday begins.
Okay.
I'll see you do it.
Yep.
And for everyone else, see you after the white flash. Stay peppy.
Stay peppy.
Welcome to the other side of the white flash. This is Chaz Unleashed.
With Lockie the Lucky and Chaz, it should come as no surprise what I am grateful for today.
What's that? Because the game ended?
Phoebe Bridgers' new music.
Okay. Let's get right into it. Go be a correspondence. Okay, we'll just fire off a few, and then we'll have a bit of midterm-y stuff, and then that'll do, I reckon. Okay, let's start with some idiom correspondence. All good correspondence sections start with some idiom correspondence. I was talking about Stephen Miller last week, and when talking about Stephen Miller, I said the term "one foul swoop." And Kelly wrote and said, "One foul swoop." I'm not sure if you misspoke or if that was intentional wordplay, but it's so fitting. What she's referring to is the fact that the phrase is one fell swoop, but I'm talking about Stephen Miller, so I said foul swoop. I'd love to claim that as wordplay, Kelly, but I can't. It's just a mistake I make all the time. And I know how you're meant to say it, but just in the heat of the moment, it gets so hot when I use that phrase. I just find myself constantly saying foul swoop instead of fell swoop. So it's just a mistake. But yeah, let's pretend it was wordplay. Look, for all intensive purposes, it's wordplay. And yes, I did do that on purpose.
Glad we're using correspondence to say, oh no, actually, I'm not as funny as you want me to be.
That's right. I think they're probably getting that sense by now, though. Like, it's one of those things where I show rather than tell. Medical correspondence from Breeder. We do have a lot of medical peppers. One fact check. Medical cocaine, which I referred to last week, it's a thing. It's usually used in dental and ear, nose, throat issues. Very useful in catastrophic nosebleeds, apparently. I thought they'd create catastrophic nosebleeds, but apparently they cure them. She says, I'm not saying it wasn't a Freudian slip, but cocaine is used in hospitals. I want names and addresses of those hospitals, Breeder, at once.
For your nosebleeds.
That's right. Yeah, chronic nosebleeds. No, it's I won't go into any details, but that's not really my scene. That's a story for not on the podcast. DC Bar Association correspondence from Kim I. This case against the DC Bar Association. Now, this was the case which I talked about last week, which I said people aren't really talking about much, which was Todd Blanche trying to remove all forms of discipline from the DC Bar Association for people who practice law inside DC. The case against the DC Bar Association. Who, what organisation decides it? Also, if Blanche's side wins, can it be used against other areas, bar associations? These are great questions, Kimai. If I was competent, I would have addressed them last week because they're good questions to ask. It's the DC Court of Appeals. This is a court case in the DC Court of Appeals, which is the second highest court below the Supreme Court in the DC region. Only for the DC region. Has no precedent value for other circuits. Although, as always with courts, they can choose to take the precedent from wherever they want. Courts in America might look at as some kind of guide, something that a British court or a French court or German court has said about a particular topic, just to inform them about ways different legislatures are dealing with stuff. So you can use it. But in terms of actually strict, you have to follow this precedent. The DC Circuit Court only controls the DC Circuit. So in other circuits and other bar associations, has no legal precedent, direct precedent value. But most federal cases go to the DC Circuit. So it's a pretty important precedent for a lot of federal cases. So that's what's going on there. It's just like a normal court case, just for the DC Circuit. Screwworm correspondence.
Cool. Great.
Once
Is
again.
it another photo?
Oh, yeah, of course there is. And I'll tell you what, there's one I'm not showing you. There was one that I just went, oh, that's too gross. I'm not gonna go there. Oh God. Sarah's a vet. Once more, our medical peppers. She's coming bearing all kinds of screwworm bonus info. You asked, I believe. Maybe it was you. I think it was you.
I'm not about to take credit for this.
Sterile flies. Do they look different to the non-sterile flies?
Wasn't me.
Was it Jared maybe?
No clue.
I don't know. Anyway,
I remember you talking about inspecting flies' bits.
Yeah. Yes. That sounds like the kind of thing I'd say. Someone sitting opposite me was asking if you could tell the difference. Sarah says you can.
Whoa.
Sterile flies are identified by their fancy colouring. They're dyed fluorescent orange or green. This dye glows under UV light and it might be visible to the naked eye, she says. This makes it easy to tell if a wild fly or released sterile fly has been caught in a surveillance trap. Now, I don't know if this is a pic. I've got a pic there of what I think is one, but it wasn't labelled that way. It just
looking at a fly with a big green back and big bright orange eye bulbs.
That's right. I'm thinking about the back more than the eye bulbs. I'm hoping they're not painting fly eye bulbs. That would be pretty harsh on the fly. Yeah, looking at way too many screwworm fly images. That one seemed to me to be describing what Sarah was talking about, reflecting what Sarah was talking about. So I think that's one, but I'm not sure. About the screwworm name, Sarah says it refers to one, larvae feeding behaviour as they burrow into the wound. They screw into the wound, apparently. And two, mature larvae appearance. They have spines that protrude from the body and wrap around in a spiral. And she got a photo of one, of course. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of screwy. I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And she also notes when treating screwworm, the antibiotics only treat the secondary bacterial infections that come with massive tissue damage, not the screwworm larvae themselves. Just in case you're out and about, you want to treat yourself to some screwworm medicine. Thank you so much for backing over the screwworm topic. Sarah, I hope our listeners and viewers aren't eating dinner while they listen. Platner corresponds, because what is PEP without mention of Platner? This is from Fat City Architect.
I've got to say, even my dad corrected us on needing to do that much Platner correspondence. My dad's suddenly a pepper as of a few episodes ago.
Really?
And even he thought
enough Platner.
Bit too much for my liking.
Hello, Mr. Lucky. Thanks for tuning in. Well, you can let Dad know that this is all I'm mentioning Platner on. This correspondence is a pretty quick correspondence. For those who are thinking there's been enough Platner, this is very postmodern. But for those who are thinking there's been enough Platner, says Fat City, there is a simple solution. Let's demand a Platner sting. It'll get used twice, then never heard from again. So cynical, Fat City. So cynical. Now, I did make a point of leaving Platner out of the main part of the pod this week, although I suppose this correspondence does count. But I only read this out for one reason, and it wasn't because I loved it and thought it had to be mentioned. I mean, I did like it. Thank you, Fat City. But the main reason is because, and Lockie can testify to this, I'm not making this up. I keep forgetting every time I mention Graham Platner, of all the times I mention him. So every single time I intend to make a joke about the fact that he is the spitting image, I forget. It's another one I get confused with Jamie from Mythbusters. Can we see a split screen, Lockie, of Graham Platner when he was on Mythbusters? How is this not a thing? Every time I see the guy, I'm thinking about the dude with the beret. Where's your beret, Platner? I can't believe it's not a thing. We gotta make it a thing.
But we should applaud him for his long-term commitment to busting myths.
Absolutely. Well done. So that's it. I tell you I wasn't going to spend long on it. That's it. And finally, a Pepper has found a second 86 movie reference. I can't believe, like, you Peppers, you are great at this. Chloe found a reference in Evil Dead. Now, she does note, this is clearly another a restaurant reference because it's set in a kitchen.
Huh.
And it's, with kitchen appliances. Also, I don't think Kelly and her friends are a mob. Well, maybe in the eyes of the Deadites they are. That's who she's killing. Let's have a look at the video.
I don't think she needed that. Yeah.
Yep, there you go. It's kind of like it is definitely in the context of the kitchen, but definitely she's talking about killing people, 86ing. So there you go. James Comey's going to serve 2 life sentences now because of this.
So it's now between Evil Dead and
Little
Shop of Horrors.
Yes.
For what Trump was watching.
I don't think it was either. Okay, now let's get into the remaining midterm stuff. We brought up New York. I just add a few more things about New York. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of talk about the youth. Like they have, like, in fact, one of their TikToks, these 3 people.
The youth, like millennial JD Vance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, like the Sunrise Movement had a TikTok where it's like, "Watch out, Chuck Schumer! Young people have taken over the Democratic Party." There's a lot of "Watch out, Chuck Schumer" going on, and they played this video here. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. There the youth are chanting the most boomer protest song in history. And amongst them is Lando, who's 56 years old. I'm not buying this. It's not obvious. I really think this is business as usual. I think the whole youth gone wild thing, it's not working for me. The youngest one there is 32. They're not that young. Like AOC only just got past that now, and she's been around for nearly 10 years. On the does this really matter question, like a few things that Landa, like I said, like I hinted at before, Dave, the guy was a former city comptroller. He has a record. He's a well-known person. He won 66-34. Mamdani didn't get him that win. He was already popular. He did well in the mayoral contest. He's an actual mate with Mamdani. The two of them have made ads together. He's well known as Mamdani is very popular in New York at the moment. I don't think that's some weird communist thing. That's just normal politics being endorsed by a popular person and actually being their friend. And I made the point about the AIPAC factor as well. The fact that Joel Goldman was actually literally endorsed by AIPAC in New York. One wonders where they were trying to get him to lose. Like what they were pulling there, that was never going to work. Claire Valdez, who was, she's a member of the state assembly. She's a politician already. And she scored a 56-36 victory over basically a nobody, Antonio Reynoso, who's the Brooklyn Borough president. Is that a big thing? I don't think it is. He is a former city councilman, I guess, which is, that's equivalent to her being a member of the state assembly. He's been in New York's politics for a while, I guess, but he had the support of the retiring rep. Who cares? Who cares about some house rep who their preference is? She had the support of Mamdani, who's a celebrity. come on. I just don't think this is a big deal at all. Like, once again, that seems to me business as usual. Yeah, I pay Chevalier. Like I said, she is newer. She just got out of college, even though she's 32. She came up against a genuine heavyweight in Adriano Espela, who I should look at how he pronounced his name, like an actual congressman for 5 terms, chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. That's
significant.
Yeah, significant. Now, she just got over the top of him, but as I said, he took money from AIPAC, which doesn't help. He's 71 in an election where age is a bit of a thing. So, like,
so he was the youth candidate.
Yes.
How old's she? Again?
She's 32. She's 32. Like, the Republicans are trying to make this matter. Like I said, Meghan McCain's going, to my beautiful Jewish friends in America, we love you. You're not alone. We're just as freaked out as you are and see with clear eyes exactly what's happening. Brad Lander's Jewish. I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind that he won the election. He won the primary. Yeah, like I said before, I think Valdez is pretty much just a standard Democrat. Chevalier, yeah, okay. She's new. The squad had a few new people. This happens. In terms of who's extreme and so forth, I just want to add, I did hint at this before. I just want to give you some details what I was saying about Chevalier. She was the founder of the Columbia University Apartheid Divest. And they've had some interesting Instagram posts over the years. Like, I saw a few of them last year when they were the year before when they were in the news a lot with their protesting. They did call for the violent overthrow of the American government, like I said before. If you ever look at one of these, I've got an example right here. Okay, this thing is getting sent around the right a lot. We are Westerners fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization. This is not from her. This is from her group. But like I don't know how she feels about this. As the fascism ingrained in the America consciousness becomes ever more explicit and irrefutable, we seek community instruction from militants in the global South who have been on the front lines in the fight against tyranny and domination which undergird the imperialist world order. She's a uni student. Yeah, honestly. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I rolled my eyes at when I was at uni saying shit like that. You know, like just, I know that was only a couple of years ago. And now she's running for Congress. But, like, I'm interested in what she says her policies are now. Is she saying that's her policy now? No, she's not. So let's hear what she's saying now and judge her on that. I don't think you should judge uni students on how they act at uni. And even if that shit was being said when she was part of the group, how long was she at uni for? She's clearly one of those perennial students. She's 32. She's at uni for like 10 years. I don't know. Like, maybe by the time she was in her 10th or 11th year, she was starting to think, this is a bit silly. Yeah, you can see how that would happen. Yeah. And she's staying in the group, But,
And has she lied about the fact that she said those comments?
It wasn't an issue. I mean, this is a New York House race. Like, these weren't very high-profile races. And that there are probably people in New York who don't think that is as strange as I do.
So I'm more just going over other potential things that could be controversial about.
I don't know of any.
Sure,
I don't know of any. And yes, her Twitter history does include tweets in 2020 calling President Biden a war criminal and a rapist. Once again, 2020. That's a lifetime when you're 32. It's just. Yeah, so,
2020. Ooh.
Yeah. It's
ooh. Ooh. I don't know where you've sent me. Ooh.
You worried about your Twitter account, Locke?
Yes.
See, I'm being forgiving. Like, it's just.
Thank you.
It's I think we write people off for life a little too easily for my liking. Worst analysis, I reckon, goes to Donald Trump, who tweeted out about Dan Goldman. Weak and pathetic Congressman Dan Goldman just got lost big. I guess people didn't like him illegally targeting President Trump. In any event, the jerk's finally gone. I don't think he lost because he called for your impeachment. I don't think that's the problem.
In New York?
Yeah, I don't think that's the problem, Donald. I really don't. And I don't think you should become a pundit. Otherwise, in a couple of years when you finish being president, choose a different path. That'll do. I just want to throw a couple of things just to give you a bit more light and shade in these guys. I want to talk about two ignored races. First of all, Alaska. I think this seat is quite likely to go to the Democrats. I actually think this is their second most likely seat to take after North Carolina. I want to give you some details.
Okay.
Mary Patola
Big.
is a triumph of localism over national issues, and I think that's the key to her. She's got some indigenous blood in her. She's that sort of special Alaskan mixture you only find in Alaska of being into protecting the environment and being into resource extraction. Normally those two don't go together. In Alaska, they're hand in hand. That's why she's the only Democratic sponsor of a bill in 2023 to push 4 oil and gas leases in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. That's a classic Alaskan position. But at the same time, she was opposed to Republicans using the same bill to remove environmental protections from the Bering Sea. Like, she's pro-environment plus pro-oil drilling. That's how they roll in Alaska.
I'm learning a lot about Alaska right now.
Her career, I mean, because they make a lot of money out of resource extraction. They all get paid out of a sovereign fund, and so they like their oil, their oil drilling. Her career experience mirrors that contradiction as well. She was a commercial fisher and a spokesperson for a gold mining company, but then she stopped being the spokesperson for a gold mining company when their mine burst and sent millions of gallons of contaminated material into the lakes and rivers of the region.
Rough gig to be a spokesperson for.
Yeah, well, she quit and she became, of all things, a fish advocate. In fact, her campaign slogan, this is a slice of Alaska for you right here.
Yeah.
Fish, family, freedom. Note the order. Fish comes first. Fish, family, freedom. Don't mess with my family. Don't mess with my fish. You can mess with my freedom a little bit, but hands off the fish.
First they came for my algae, then they came for my fish.
First they came for the algae, then they came for the freedom, and then they came for my family, and I was okay with all of them, but then they came for my fish. Anyway, she also uses the phrase Alaska first quite a lot. Her ads are a real mishmash of motherhood statements and good vibes, like this kind of thing.
When I think of an Alaskan, I think about somebody who has a genuine connection to the land and the people and the experience of living and growing and raising a family here.
Alaskans, we stick together, no matter what. We're all tough, we're gritty, and we work together to solve the problems in our community, no matter what your background is.
Mary Peltola will listen to working families. She will listen to small farmers and fishermen.
Every Alaskan I have ever known, no matter how young, no matter how old, no matter where they're from, deeply understand the importance of making sure our kids and grandkids and all the generations after us have the same kind of abundance that we had. We can get back there if we're all working on this together.
I think she gets me.
Mary's had her boots on the ground, on the riverbanks, in the mud, just like all us Alaskans. I think she gets it.
Mary knows us Alaskans. She's going to put us first.
I'm Mary Peltola, and I approve this message.
Her number one policy, though, is to enact stricter dragnet regulations for industrial fishing companies. This is a classic Alaskan position.
Number one policy?
She's very big on enacting stricter dragnet regulations for industrial fishing companies. She doesn't want those industrial fishing companies. But I'm talking about, again, about the environment. While still going to drill more oil.
Incredible.
And in 2024, she became the only Democrat since 2020 to secure an NRA endorsement. How she did that? She apparently has 176 long guns. That's very Alaska. Who needs 176 guns?
Well, presumably, when she had 175, the NRA went, we're not just sure you're on our side yet. But the 176th put her over the mark.
I want to know how many huts that she has. She has 176 long guns. She was also one of 6 Democrats to vote to condemn Joe Biden's immigration policies as well. She's that weird mix. I think that she's what candidates should be like, reflecting the views of their community. More than the national tribe, whatever that tribe may be.
I unless it's about fish, I haven't heard any ads from her about fighting the establishment.
Well, that ad I just played before, it was getting close, but not quite. It was on the way. It was very motherhoody. But yeah, she doesn't go completely bland, sort of,
Which is refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. In 2022, she just beat out Sarah Palin for Alaska's House seat after she got preferences from the other Republicans' supporters.
Because You've talked about them having ranked choice.
Yeah.
For a tiny bit.
Yeah, for the last 4 go into the final election. There's ranked choice, like Australia. Yeah. And in that case, there, Republicans got more votes between them, but some of them preferenced Mary Patola instead of Palin. So that's how she won. And when she beat Palin still complimented her. She texted Patola saying she was a real Alaskan chick, beautiful and smart and tough, which was nice of Palin.
That is nice.
Yeah, good on her. This year, like I said, she's got more populist edge. So she's kind of a bit Tallarico-ish. She's got her 2 campaign pillars are affordability and fixing the rigged systems. That's what I'm talking about there.
Okay.
Some of the policies are weird. She's very unique. Eliminating taxes on Social Security in the first $92,000 of income is a terrible policy. A larger child tax credit, yeah, okay. Right to repair laws, yeah, I like that one. Term limits, terrible policy. A ban on, that's for politicians, a ban on members of Congress trained stocks, yeah, that's good. So it's just kind of this weird mishmash of everything. In 2024, when Harris lost by 13 points in Alaska, Patola lost by 3.
Okay, so she's...
Yeah. She's this is why I think she's got a good chance of winning. She currently leads Dan Sullivan, the real Dan Sullivan, not the fake Dan Sullivan, the fake Democrat Dan Sullivan. She now leads Dan Sullivan by 5 to 7 points. And remember, with the top 4 preferential, it suits her.
Oh, of course.
She's the one who gets preferences, right? So wherever she's at right now, you can add a few points of second preference votes for her. So I think that she's pretty much the favourite. So look out for that one. People aren't talking about that. My view, she's more likely than Platner to win this year. I think North Carolina is the most likely for the Democrats to take. I think Alaska is the second most likely. Then I think it's probably Ohio is the next. I think that gets them to 50. And then Platner's going to decide if they take the Senate or not. I reckon. That? So we'll see. I mean, look, it's possible the Democrats do so well they end up with 53 because they can win in Texas and Iowa as well. The other thing I want to talk about is Iowa very quickly.
Jump in.
2 really interesting races there. First of all, Governor Rob Sand versus Zach Lane. Rob Sand was a prosecutor and a state auditor before now, and he was such a nuisance uncovering waste, fraud and abuse. The GOP legislature defunded him. That's how he became so popular. And he's very nonpartisan. Also, he was a male model. Have a look at that. Cutie.
Ooh.
Look at those cheekbones. Now, that was him 20 years ago. It was when he was in college. He literally modeled in Milan. These days,
But we don't care about what people did in college.
Well, you can look good.
No, I'm sorry. I'm teasing.
No, I notice I'm not quoting him from college. These days, he keeps himself not too good looking, probably on purpose. He's got deliberately short hair, so his ears stick out. He looks a bit goofy. He looks a bit Alfred E. Newman.
Crafty.
That's a Trump reference for you. He loves Alfred E. Newman references. He looks a bit goofy and dopey, and I think it works. Still good looking, though. He's also very, very religious Christian. He's an interesting fellow. He's part of this new kind of Tallarico type, this left-leaning Christians who make their religion central to their political identity. He sells hard on the Christian thing, which is interesting as well. By contrast, Zach Lane is the Maha candidate. He's the pick of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's old organisation. He's so popular amongst that group that he beat Randy Feenstra, who was Trump-endorsed in Iowa. Just beat him out. But don't get the impression he's grassroots. He's actually a really super rich political operative with like his own planes and stuff. He was the Montana state director for the Koch brothers organization, Americans for Prosperity, like the hardcore libertarians. And he started a private conservative school with one of the Koch brothers' sons called Wonder. Not the son, the school's called Wonder. Okay, whatever. He's, as I said, very rich. Some interesting business interests. He used to invest in a men's sexual health company called Firmtech.
That's a fun name.
Yep, that was until 2023.
My dad listens now.
Yeah, well,
no jokes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lackey, but I'm just gonna have to spit it out. They make cock rings. That's what they make. And Randy Feenstra loved running ads about Firmtech, like this one here.
Zach Lane says he represents Iowa values, but Lane invested $1 million in a sex toy company called Firm Tech. They're even connected with Pornhub, a website hurting marriages and harming children. Zach Lane's phony values end where his profits begin.
For those listening, we saw a picture of the cock rings without them being mentioned. It was very subtle. But Rob Sand doesn't really care about any of that. He's not even mentioning that. He's got one main target. Zach Lane lives in Kansas.
Which is not Iowa?
This is not Iowa. His children live in Wichita, Kansas, and since October 2025, Lane's made 37 trips to Wichita and back on his private plane. Rob Sand says he filed at the wrong Secretary of State office and he should be running for governor of Kansas. Lane actually only registered to vote in Iowa in 2024. Registered to vote in 2024. The quote that really kills Lane, though, is when he said, "If I'm elected governor, it would be a different arrangement and we'd work it out. Because, we'd be in Iowa as much as humanly possible."
Oh.
It's not a good quote.
Oh.
So this is the kind of ad Rob Sand's been running.
An economy near the bottom, but number one in rising cancer rates. Turning Iowa around will be a full-time job, but Zach Lane isn't even a full-time Iowan. Lane lives, voted, and hit it rich in Kansas as a political insider, working for billionaires and special interests, commuting to Iowa on his private plane. Lane says if elected, he'd be in Iowa as much as humanly possible. But you can't be a full-time governor if you're a part-time Iowan.
3 main topics in this campaign. 1, education. Kim Reynolds, the outgoing Republican governor, really buggered up Iowa's schools. They are super proud of their schools in Iowa. Iowa to education is Alaska to fish. And Rob Sand's got a lot to say about education. So that's a major issue. Second is cancer. They mentioned that now. I had to just play it. Iowa has the second highest cancer rate in America. Kentucky's first, by the way. What causes this is not completely clear, but people are almost certain it has to do with agriculture because the cancer belt in America is the agriculture belt. In particular, and by the way, the cancer rates are a lot higher in the cancer belt than they are outside the cancer belt. A lot of people suspect it has to do with pesticides, but it's hard to prove. More study is required. And this is part of the reason that Zach Lane is popular amongst Republicans as a Maha candidate. Another potential culprit are high levels of nitrates in the water. Iowa has particular high nitrate levels in their water supply because of all the fertilizer used in the region. And Rob Sand has a policy of increasing funding for cover crops, which you plant to keep the soil healthy and in the ground and prevent runoff, which would reduce nitrate levels. That's his policy. Zach Lane is generally just been very populist about big ag and big pharma with some rabble-rousing. He's doing that, I think, not coincidentally, because Rob Sand's wife has a massive family fortune from big ag.
Crafty.
So that could be a big issue in this campaign. And finally, data centers, they both hate so much. Zach Lane has a huge amount to say about them.
I mean, these are $100 billion multinational companies. They do not need a handout from the people of Iowa.
You have called for data centers to pay 5 times the property tax rate of their surrounding, and you've said you're not a big fan of data centers. Data centers are getting built all over Iowa.
I would challenge somebody to tell me what the added benefit to the citizens of Iowa is. The reason they want to be here is because of our climate. It makes it cheaper for them to do business. They're not employing our people. The data center south of Cedar Rapids, one of the companies received $529 million in tax abatements to create 30 jobs. That's $17 million a job. It doesn't make sense. The one main added long-term benefit of having a data center in Iowa is property taxes, and we're giving it away. We're just giving them the ability to do this without adding the benefit that we should have. I'm not against development in general. I'm against development that doesn't put Iowans first.
So that's going to be a huge issue as well. And then the Senate race is Josh Turek versus Ashley Hinson. This is going to be very quick here. Josh Turek is a 2-time Paralympic gold medalist with a record of winning red areas. He's from a poor rural area of Iowa. He holds a state house district that was actually Republican before he won it. So he's got a bit of a track record here. Born with spina bifida, caused by his father's exposure to Agent Orange during the Vietnam War.
Whoa.
And he gels with Iowans concerned about pesticides and agri-chemicals because of this. He is the result of being poisoned, essentially. He underwent 21 surgeries as a child, and he ended up playing wheelchair basketball in 4 Paralympics. The thing he's most known for is dragging himself around the place, up and down stairs with his wheelchair when he's campaigning. Now, it sounds like I'm being a bit slack there, but honestly, every ad, you see the dude dragging himself upstairs. It's his thing, being a dogged campaigner who goes the extra mile. And obviously what he's trying to subtly communicate is he will fight harder for you. Look how hard I fight. He's always talking about fighting harder. Right? So this is an example of one of his ads. I'll play you here. I'll read this out for the listeners. Okay, so what you're seeing right now is Josh Turek dragging himself around to talk to voters. And it says, I work this hard just to have a conversation with Iowans. Imagine in the Senate how hard I'll work for you. And it's just him going up the stairs. Lots of that kind of stuff. And even on his standard ads, there's always heaps of shots of him dragging himself around. He just does this all the time. Ashley Hinson is one of the Republicans' real up-and-coming stars. She's a moderate former TV journo and is hugely popular in Iowa. She's a House rep for Iowa at the moment. The knock on her is that she pledged to be Trump's top ally back in the day when he was actually popular. But now Iowa hates Trump. His tariffs are hurting them, in particular agriculture, right? The retaliatory tariffs in particular are killing Iowa. The cost of fertilizer is sky high because of the war. And Ashley Hinson's in Congress right now. So she's at least slightly responsible for these problems. Even though she's still running against Washington anyway. This is one of her ads here.
Iowa families are strong, generous, and good people. Ashley Hinson knows this because she's one of us. Ashley's a mom who understands that today's rising costs aren't just numbers. It's stress, worry, and pressure on our families and our children who matter most. Ashley goes to Washington guided by the same values she learned right here. Work hard, keep your word, and always put people, not party, first. That's Ashley Hinson.
End of the day, Cook Political Report has the governor's race as a toss-up and the Senate race only slightly favouring Republicans. I think this is the least likely of the Senate races for the Dems to win. I think Ashley Hinson is a very strong candidate. And so I would say, so going back to what I said before, I think essentially Platner decides if it's 51 or 50, if the Democrats take the Senate. But if they end up another point or two up, it's possible that both Tallarico and Turek can win, and Dems can win up with 53. I don't see a world in which the Democrats end up with less than, I reckon, 49. I just can't see them losing Alaska or North Carolina, but Ohio isn't 100%, and yeah, God knows what's happening with Platner. I have no idea. So we'll find out. Look, there's more I can talk about, but I've gone way over time. So I just want to just talk about these races because we never talk about Iowa or Alaska or anything. I just want to give people a bit of a sense of this before we go for the break.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Lockie?
Not at all. Well done. Good fun. And we'll see everyone next week with a bit of Chaz on Ice.
Yes, indeedy. And hopefully some woofers. I love
Great
that name.
Great name.
Till then, stay peppy.